So,
Okay, it's 6 o'clock, so I'd just like to call the meeting to order. Be it resolved that the meeting be called to order and the agenda for the meeting be adopted and circulated. Can I have a mover, please?
I'll move.
Councilor Campbell moves, Councilor Bichetti seconds it. Can I have any comments, questions? Can I call for the vote? All in favor? Aye. Okay, be it resolved that the council accept the following additions, deletions, and/or changes to the agenda. Add 15.1 addendum, additional yard waste collection, November 4th, 2024.
Could I also add an addendum to in-camera RRPD?
Okay.
I'll move it.
Okay, you move it?
Yep.
And you second it? Okay, Councilor Bichetti seconds it. Any questions, comments? Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. So I guess tonight we have a public hearing. Council wishes to thank everyone for taking an interest in what's happening in your municipality by attending this evening. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive representations from the applicant and any persons who wish to make them concerning what is proposed. We will hear first from the applicant, then from those present who wish to make representations, starting with anyone who wants to speak in favor of the proposal, followed by those who are opposed or object to the proposal. At the end of these other presentations, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond. If anyone is interested in a presentation for any hearing scheduled for this evening, please ensure your name and contact information are recorded on the appropriate sign-in sheet. If you're already signed in, if you haven't already signed in, please so do now, so you have an opportunity to speak to council. Applicants must also sign in. At the end of each presentation, the members of council may ask for clarification from the speaker on any facts or issues, but will not enter into a debate. Person speaking must address the chair. If they have questions that they think the applicant or administration should ask, they should raise them in their presentation to the chair. The applicant will have an opportunity to respond to the questions when the other presentations are finished. If the hearing is not completed today, whether because we run out of time or further information is to be provided, then we will adjourn the hearing. If we adjourn, we will tell you at this hearing the date of the continued public hearing. There will be no other notice given of the date. Even if all representations are completed today, we may not be making our decision today. Until our decision is made, there can be no further communication of any kind with council about the proposal. When council makes a decision, all persons who make their representation at the hearing will be notified. When council makes its decision of conditional use of variance application, it is final. It is not an appeal. I will now close, open remarks. Well, now council wish to make. Okay. I'll now open the public hearing. Be it resolved that this meeting of council recess for the purpose of holding a public hearing pursuant to section 96A of the Planning Act. Can I have a mover, please? Can I, Giorgio Presetti, Councilor Bichetti moves. Can I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Council Campbell seconds it. Any comments, questions? Can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I guess now we can have the planner make his presentation. Thank you.
thank you, Mayor. This is variance 87 of 2024, as you noted. It's for 69 Corona Avenue. The purpose is to decrease the building separation to allow for a storage shed on the property. Specifically, the applicant's asking to reduce the separation from the 10-foot requirement down to 0 feet. I should note that for the separation distance, those are taken from the furthest projection of the building, whether that's a wall or an eaves trough. For this, it's going to be an eaves trough, so that's going to be 0. I should note that from wall to wall between the shed and the main building is going to be 2 feet. Next slide. So here's the subject property. You can see on the street there with the existing house oriented towards the street. Next one. And here's the site plan that the applicant provided showing the location of the storage shed, lean-to style of shed that's going to be against the rear of the garage. Should council wish to approve this, there's just two standard conditions there. One, that the variance is limited to what's been presented in this application. So if the applicant wants to do something different, they need to come back to council for permission again. And two, that they obtain all required permits. I should note that the lean-to style shed is going to be 10 by 16. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Council have any questions?
Yeah.
Councilor Kleiber?
Pardon my ignorance, but what is the lean-to style? What does
I-
that mean?
The applicant can probably explain better, but I'm guessing it's not a gable-style roof. I'm guessing it's just a single lean roof. But
Okay,
maybe they
so
can explain it a
The
bit more.
inside of it is, it's not flush against the garage. There's some separation between the garage and the
They've
building,
noted the
or is it right
separation.
up against the garage?
The eave will be kind of at about 0, and the wall-to-wall is going to be about 2 feet.
Hmm.
So I'm sure the applicant can explain it probably better than I could.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions?
What's the,
Go ahead, sorry.
I'm sorry, the required separation is how much?
10 feet.
And is that for fire separation or?
I'm not entirely sure the history of these separations. I think that was previous council's intent and what we see in other municipalities. But I should note that the building code takes care of fire separation. So you could have two structures that are incredibly close to one another, but the building code will dictate what you have to do on those walls in order to achieve fire separations. So
Okay.
just as a point of interest, you can't have two buildings like right a foot apart from each other that have windows, right? Because you could have fire blow up between the two of them.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, there's usually a way to address the fire issue. It just might cost more money in building materials. So,
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else have questions? Okay, can we have the applicant come forward? Is the applicant present? Okay. State your name and address, please.
I'm Teresa Rostick, that's my husband Jeffrey over there,
Okay.
69 Corona Avenue in West St. Paul.
So is your husband going to be making any comments too, or? Okay, okay. So, okay, if you can explain what you want to do then, please?
Sure. As previously stated, we want to build a lean-to shed on the back of the garage for storage purposes. And the reason why we want it closer to the garage is for snow blower. So anyone who lives in West St. Paul, especially where we live, where it's wide open, there's a lot of snow. 10 feet away from the house would be difficult to trudge through snow to get a snow blower. So I guess this is the lean-to, so it's like you have a straight wall, and then you have a bit of a slope for the roof away from the building being our garage. So the distance between would be from the eave of the garage, our house garage, and the eave of the shed.
So, okay. When you say the house garage, is the eaves going to be touching that? Is that
No,
what you're saying?
no.
Okay.
So, the house garage, actually, the distance of the wall is 16 feet high, so the eave will actually be, of the garage, is quite a bit higher than the eave of the house, but the distance still will be flush, but the wall difference will be the 2 feet.
Councilor Shetty?
On your, I guess it's the letter of intent, it says the shed would be built 12 inches from the north side of the house. Okay, so is it the walls 2 feet? I've heard 2 feet, and
Yeah,
I've heard
so that
0,
was
and now I've
the-
heard 12 inches, so I'm just trying to clarify here.
Yeah, that was the initial request for it to be wall to wall, 12 inches. And then after further discussion with the, district planning board, it was discussed, the question was eve to eve. So that's how we came to the 0 distance, eve to eve, which creates it, would be basically over 2 feet.
So that basically moved the wall out
Correct.
by doing that, okay.
Correct.
Yeah, question?
I'm not understanding why it has to be so close.
Um,
Like, I walk way more than 10 feet to get to my snow blower.
Okay,
So I'm
I
just-
guess I'm lazy in the cold.
What's that?
I said, I guess I'm a little lazy in the cold. I don't want to be walking that far. The purpose of the lean-to style is to have it closer to the garage. So I wouldn't, if I needed to build it 10 feet away from the house, I'd probably be using a different roof line.
So are you keeping the snow blower in the shed?
Yes,
Is it combustible? Does it have gasoline in it?
it would.
That's pretty close to the house now. That's my concern.
Okay. We've discussed previously using firewall if we need to. We're willing to do whatever it is. If we can't get it built closer to the house, then it's a no-go.
Well, I mean, we could approve it, but I mean, you pay your money, take your chance on this one, because if something starts on fire, it's very close to your home now. So from my perspective, I'd rather you be a little bit further away, than that close to your house. That's like really, really close. I have my concerns about that,
Okay,
just for fire purposes.
okay.
Yeah, because if you were storing nothing that was combustible, like you were just storing some tools or whatever, that'd be one thing. But if you start putting in lawnmowers with gasoline and snow blowers with gasoline, then I have some concerns about that.
Councilor Campbell?
Are you done, Councillor Clyburn?
I am.
Okay. My only comment there, Councillor Clyburn, is I
Okay.
think currently is, they're storing the snow blower in the garage, so, you know, if it's, either it's not a, you know, we all do it, I don't, there's probably, if there's 50 people in this room, 49 of them would have their lawnmower or snow blower in their shed or their garage. I'm sure even, Mr., no?
Not me.
I'd be surprised. but,
Mine's in a big shed,
yeah.
way far away from my
You know what I
house.
mean, though, most people,
Yeah.
like, I'm guilty of it also, right, so I don't really have an issue with that myself. Everybody has different thought process, but I don't have an issue with this, no.
Any other questions? What kind of snow blower? Do you have a walk behind or a?
No, it's a John Deere tractor with
Oh,
snow
okay.
plow.
Oh,
What's
that's
the tractor? Okay.
So it's gonna be like 16 feet, the length of 16 feet of the shed?
Yes.
Okay. Not too bad.
Yeah, I guess, Mayor, I'm trying to picture this, and I can't really picture it based on the pictures I've been given. Like, where are you gonna come, if you're putting a snow blower in, where is the door for it to come out? On the back of it?
So it would, the door for the garage, so our plan was to do a rolling door
Yeah.
that would be
In the
flush
front.
with the doors of our garage as it stands right now. Right,
So where the man door is, or on the other side?
No, the door to go into the garage for the lawnmower would be the same side as the doors that our vehicles currently drive into the garage.
The roll-ups.
Yep,
Okay, so this shed, if you're gonna put a tractor in there, so
Right.
where is it gonna roll up to get the tractor out? How are you gonna get the tractor out? Is it connected to the garage? Or how are you gonna get your tractor in and out of the shed that you're building?
I suppose I would drive it.
No, I know, but where's the door? You're saying,
Oh.
like, I can't see visually where the
Okay.
door is.
So,
Would the door be on the north side of the shed?
What's up, Counselor Pactican?
Will the door be on the north side of the lean-to shed?
That's what I'm wondering, yeah. Is it on
No,
the
it
north
would-
side?
it would be on the east side. So
Okay.
if you look at the property right now, if you look at the picture that's up there, it would be exactly right where that arrow is at.
Okay,
That's the end that it would be opening up with the roll-up,
okay,
Also the long way.
right?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, okay,
that makes sense.
that makes sense now.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Are there any in favor?
No one else registered in favor or in opposition. For information is Norma Alber.
Okay. So, no, nothing? We're good? Okay. Okay.
Also Eleanor Link.
I'm going to change mine to, as being in opposition because of the concerns around the,
Oh.
well, there don't seem to be any plans
Ca-
for
Excuse me,
mitigating fire.
can you just come up and?
Okay. Eleanor Link, 1045 Toshack Road. I believe the lady said that they would do what they need to do in terms of making the building safe from transferring fire from one part of the building to the other. But that tells me that there's little known about what needs to be done. And if you're going to be getting into building something like this, I think you better make yourself very much aware. I know that we do keep our gasoline-powered mower and so on in our garage, but we also have a firewall between the garage and the house, so that was code back when.
So you're changing now from information to opposition?
Yes, I
Okay.
am, and I'm surprised that the fire department hasn't had a look at this too.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Yes, Council Campbell?
Just through the mayor to Mrs. Lane. So their house would have a firewall already. It's not an older house, and their house would already have a firewall between the garage and the house, just for your information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Still in opposition.
Okay,
For information is Jerry Belinky.
Before Mr. Belinky comes up, can I ask the planner a question?
by all means.
So, have we any there would be a fire separation from the garage, or we don't know? I mean, a garage, it'd be fire separation to the inside wall of the house, but let's say something happens in that shed, you'd have to have some fire separation in that shed, right?
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. I don't know, and the code isn't really my wheelhouse. I believe there has to be a fire separation from the attached garage to the dwelling unit of the house.
Yeah, that would be
As
the
for the
wall.
other side of the garage wall to the outside, I don't know. But I can say that they will have to adhere to the building code. So if there are additional parameters that have to be put in place for fire separation or protection, then they're gonna have to do that.
Could we put a condition in that there is some kind of fire separation for that? Because the shed normally doesn't have that, because you normally don't put a shed a foot from your house. I don't have a shed a foot from my house.
Right. In terms of adding a condition, I'd be ignorant to know how to word that, because I'm just not familiar with the code. I don't know if fire separation is the right terminology to use or what have you. I don't think you need a condition that says you have to follow the code, because that's implied in outlined in your building bylaw. I know we've had other situations where people have wanted to build things closer to property lines and have received variances and have then had to do.
This is proximity to the house, though.
It is. I'm just using it as an example where the applicants thought they could build to one sort of style, and then they found out to adhere to the building code because of proximity, they had to put in additional measures. So
Yeah.
I'd leave it up to the experts of the code and whatever drafts people and architect, engineers, who are the professionals that have to be involved in that.
Mm. Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Hey, Jerry Belinky, 354 Gardenview Drive. First of all, I want to change it to against. I'm not pleased with the site plan that was provided, because we really can't see where this is going on the property. I'd like to know how large the property is, so we could guess on how much room there is on the property, so if there was a need to put this as close to the house as possible. From what I heard, I don't want to walk. I mean, that's no reason for us to go ahead and have a variance. I just can't see that. Just changing it down to basically 0, it's setting a precedent. We just had new zonings, new easements increased, and now we're coming in and taking a variance for 0. I think this is setting the wrong precedence. If there's room on that property, we shouldn't allow this to be just because it's convenient. How about all the other neighbors? I mean, we don't even know how it's gonna look attached. I mean, do we know what the other neighbors are saying about this? Especially the one that's next door? Now we're having a property right to the fence line almost, so I'm against it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
For information is Chris Abreu.
Mr. Yeah, okay,
And for information is Ted Gendris.
Did you want to speak? You want to say something?
No.
533 Blackdale.
Oh, okay, this is a different one. This is Corona, yeah. Okay,
Okay. Anyone
okay,
else?
so there's nobody else then?
Okay, so I'm gonna
Okay.
ask the applicant to come forward and address some of the questions that were raised.
I have a question before we,
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Councilor
Okay,
Camp,
yeah,
Paxton.
so with regards to the last individual was asking for information, or here for information, does that individual live on Corona?
Yes. Next door neighbor.
No,
Oh, sorry.
They're the neighbor?
Yes.
There are two, Mike. There's one that's, for information on Blackdale Road, and there's one that's on Corona for information.
I see, okay.
what were you gonna say?
I just wanted to know if were they willing to speak at this point, or to say
Oh.
anything?
Okay, no, they're not willing to speak. They're just here for information.
Okay, fair enough. And then, when the applicant comes back, I have a question for the applicant.
The applicant's back, Mike?
But
Okay, so I just wanted to ask the applicant, 10 feet minimum is, meets our zoning bylaws. That's literally 3-4 steps away from the garage. Are you not willing to consider complying with the bylaw? I mean, you've heard significant concerns about fire protection, safety, things like that. There isn't a hydrant on the streets as far as I know. But are you willing to reconsider locating it 10 feet north of your house?
So part of our issue with considering that is I don't know if you have any of the pictures, our lots on our street are actually, there's the one picture, but you see that picture, our lots are all at an angle, so taking it 10 feet back, and I have a fire pit that, I have a walkway down to a fire pit, and if I take the shed 10 feet down there, as you see on the one side, there's shrubbery, that's quite swampy in there. And if I take it 10 feet back, the elevation becomes a bit of an issue as far as when it's wet in the springtime. I'm hedging into swamp water there.
Okay, and have you considered any other alternatives to comply with the 10-foot minimum requirement, like maybe perhaps a different configuration of the shed, or perhaps locating it more in your driveway, maybe?
Help me understand what you're asking. I'm not understanding exactly where you would see it being built.
So I'm asking you, have you considered other alternatives to meet the 10-foot setback requirements?
We actually have. So some of the considerations we have to look at are septic. So obviously I'm not gonna build it over septic lines. I'm not gonna build it over too close to my water lines, nor am I gonna build it over any electrical, where any hydro lines or gas lines come in. So this to me seemed to be the most appropriate spot if we're looking closer to the house. And not being an eyesore.
Where's your septic
Okay.
field on that diagram?
If you look, so there's the fire pit,
Yeah.
and then further out, there's the septic field.
Well, you
But
got it
the
way
actu-
out there.
Correct,
Yeah.
but there would be lines going from the house to the septic field, I'm
Yeah, I
not building
mean-
over that.
Yeah, we have that too.
But then,
Excuse me,
gentleman-
sir, you're not the register.
If you wanna speak, you have to say your name and your
Hi,
address.
sorry,
Sorry.
sorry.
You go ahead.
My name is Jeff Rostick. I live at 69 Corona.
Yeah, go ahead.
The gentleman that was speaking remotely suggested on the driveway that would put us within 10 feet of the property line. So, and in order to mitigate the problem of a fire issue,
What
like
about right
everybody
here?
else, I've got 20 gallons of gas. That would put us, then we'd have to build a way up out of the ground, and then there would
Cause
be.
you're not level here?
No, that all
No.
slopes towards the neighbor's property, as his does, towards the property line, as his property does ours.
And the shrub there is basically a
It's
slope.
bush.
You
It's
got a
not my
shrub there?
property.
That's
It's
not
not
ours.
There's not even
mine.
a shrub there on the
It's not,
diagram.
it's not,
It's
it's
on
a,
this side.
it's a
Must
slough.
be old.
It's a slough.
Okay.
And in order to mitigate fire issues, like I said, we can easily store the 20 gallons of gas that I have in the garage throughout winter. In the garage, all
So-
the time.
My concern is fire, it's safety. So,
But I,
so if you're storing gasoline in your garage, I don't do that, but I guess you do that. You have fire separation to your
Yes.
house, right? But then when you put the shed up, there'll be no fire separation
I
between those
also-
two, right? Cause it's a shed.
So, yeah, basically if you put
So
the
if it catches
fireboard
fire,
in
it's gonna
between.
catch your garage on fire right away too, right?
it's gonna burn the house, no matter what, inside.
Yeah, there won't be a lot of time, right?
So, I mean, my cars are in there,
They have gas.
my lawn tractor, my lawnmower, my everything, which uses gasoline, is in the garage.
Yeah, I guess there's the reason that we do the 10 feet. And one of them is that, but, okay, I appreciate your comments.
Councilor Shetty?
It sounds like a lot of the against is to this fire separation, which our planner has said has to be followed through the code, so I don't think we're the ones here to enforce the code. I think that's at the planning level. Am I correct, Mr. Planner?
Our office cannot issue a permit unless it adheres to the Manitoba Building Code.
Yeah, but we don't know what the building code is for sheds, and if there is fire separation in a shed.
But
So-
are we, like, to reinvent
That's why-
the
that's why
planning
there's
board,
always
the plan-
separation.
But the planners would be going through that, and if there is a different code for that, it would be them bringing that up, not us.
No, the
It's
planner
backed
wouldn't bring
onto a
that up, would you?
garage. It's not backed onto the,
Inspectors.
it's backed onto the attached garage, which has a fire separation, and, I don't know, I'm gonna say, I store gas in my garage, I think everybody does, cause I don't wanna go trudge out to a shed way in the backyard to get gas for my snow blower in the winter either, so. Yeah, there's, between, stucco or whatever's on the outside of the house, that's all fire separation also, so. But I think the code is back to the planning board, so I don't have a problem with this.
So to the planner, that would be the plan review, the permitting per people would have to go by code. But is there code on a shed? Is there fire separation on a shed? I don't think so, right? It's a shed.
I don't know the ins and outs of the code, unfortunately.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so now I'll close the public hearing. Be it resolved that council do hereby close the public hearing and resume the regular meeting of council. Can I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councilor Clyber moves, Councilor Bichetti seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, call for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. Go down to 5.13 for the resolution for variance order CO 8724. Whereas an application for variance 8424 was received for the property located at 69 Corona Avenue to decrease the building separation distance between a house and an accessory structure in the RR rural residential overlay zone from a required 10 feet minimum to 0 feet. And whereas under the provision of the Planning Act, a public hearing has been held to hear representation both for and against the application. Therefore be it hereby resolved that after careful consideration, Council of the RM of West St. Paul hereby approve variance 87/24 with the following conditions. This variance is limited to what has been represented in this application. Any further changes, replacements, or additions would require a new variance approval. And 2, applicant owner obtains all required permits from Red River Planning District and municipality if required. The variance order will expire and cease to have any effect if it is not acted upon within 12 months of the date of the decision. A board, council, or planning commission may extend the deadline under subsection 1 for an additional period no longer than 12 months if an application was received before the initial deadline. Could I have a mover, please? Council Bichetti moves.
Second.
Council Campbell seconds. Any comments, questions? Any from, none from, no? Okay, can I call for the vote? All in
Oh,
favor?
hold on, I just
Wait,
wanna say,
go ahead.
yeah, okay, so, I mean, this is I recognize that the property owner has a dilemma with the configuration of their property. But I'm not sure if I heard enough of the alternatives being explored. If this shed is primarily for a snow blower, I'm not sure why the snow blower couldn't be kept perhaps inside the garage. I heard lawnmower and things like that. So I'm not sure if I heard enough good information to support this, and I was kind of looking for maybe, some information, to see if the property owner could perhaps move this to a different location. Even if it's the property's a bit sloped, to sort of go back perhaps and figure that out. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm kind of repeating myself, but I don't think I heard enough of an alternative. So at this point, and fire is a bit of that's a pretty heavy issue. That's a public safety issue for not only this property, but others around. Others around. There isn't a fire suppression system. We don't have a hydrant on this street. So for those reasons, I won't be supporting this application.
Councilor Campbell?
I think it comes down to is, everybody would be okay if he has this lawn tractor in his garage with the same fire tendency as it could have in this lean-to shed. So I think outside is better than inside, that's my opinion. So I just want everybody to think of that before they actually make that decision. We're okay with it being in the garage and closer to the house instead of outside the garage, and the garage will have stucco on it, which is also a fire mitigating material, as opposed to the house just has drywall between it as a fire stop. So, I see no issue with this, and if we if we drove by anybody else's house, that they are gonna have their lawnmower, snow blower in their garage for the majority of people. So I have no problem supporting this.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I'm not supporting this either. It's too close to the house, and too close to the garage, and, the reason for doing it is because there's snow drifts. Well, it's West St. Paul, we have snow drifts, and, I mean, my tractor is way more than 10 feet from our house, and we go out in the snow and snow blow and take it out and store stuff, and it's away from the home. So I just can't wrap my head around being 0 feet from the building. I just can't. I'm sorry. I'd like to support it, but I'm concerned about safety issues here. So I'm not gonna support it at this time.
Any other comments?
No.
Can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nate?
Defeated. Okay, so next we'll go down to 5.2. Open public hearing for variance order VO 8924. Be it resolved that this meeting of council recessed for the purpose of holding a public hearing pursuant to section 96A of the Planning Act. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councilor Kleiber moves. Can I have a seconder, please? Councilor Bichetti seconds it. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. Okay, now we're down to 5.1 of the public hearing. I'll ask the planner to make his presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. As you noted, this is variance number 89 of 2024 at 28 Pendernis Drive, and the purpose is to increase the maximum size and height of an accessory building in the RG residential general zone. Specifically, the applicant would like to increase the maximum size from 800 square feet to 2240 square feet for an accessory structure, and increase the maximum height from 15 feet to 24 feet. Here's the subject property. You can see kind of a corner lot, a little bit big with backing onto Main Street there. And here's a bit of a site plan that the applicant has provided, showing the location of the proposed accessory structure in relation to the house. Next one. And here's some elevation drawings, just outlining the what the new detached garage would look like. Should council wish to approve this, there are 4 conditions for your consideration. The first 2 are standard conditions, that it's limited to what's been proposed, as well as that the applicant has to obtain all required permits from our office and the municipality if required. Number 3, that the proposed accessory structure is not to be used for home occupation or home industry. That comes from your administration. As well as that there is an existing 11.95 feet, well, let's just say 12 by 20 foot detached accessory structure. That's to be removed upon completion of the proposed new garage. The applicants indicated that they would remove that from the property. So just keeping that in there, because if it's not removed, then that would be, we'd be well over the allowable sizes on the property. Another variance would be needed. Just as a point for council, so for your consideration, the RG zone has, if you're making a new lot, has a minimum lot size of 15,000 square feet. This property is 48,000 square feet, so it's bigger than your standard RG zone. So I just wanted to bring that fact just for you, just to have it in context. This wouldn't be like what you might see in, I think, like Lister Rapids has like 15,000 square feet lots, that sort of thing. So, thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Got any, the council have any questions? Councilor Kleiber?
Yeah, so the applicant is a custom carpentry business?
From what I understand.
Okay. And is there any, in the application, any reason why it has to be almost 3 times the size of the normal, maximum size accessory structure size?
I don't have that, but I'm sure the applicant can give some
So
insight.
there's no letter of intent?
No.
Is there a fence here?
Fence?
A fence all around the property?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Okay, and it's within the height restrictions, but it's not within the square footage?
No, it's not within the height restrictions.
Okay,
They're
so
going
the
from
height
15 to 24. So it'd be a 2-story.
Okay, and so no reason has been given as to why we need such a big garage?
I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Can any council have any more questions for the planner? Can the applicant come forward, please? And I'm gonna ask the audience to, thank you. Is the applicant here?
We don't have anyone registered in support,
Do we have the applicant here, though?
not registered.
Okay. Okay,
Okay, anyone in support, opposed? Nothing?
No one in support or in opposition. For information is Norma Elber.
Okay.
Norma Albert, 312 Evelyn Avenue. I'm registered just for information on this. I just assumed, I guess, that the applicant would be here. I guess that would be my only question, is if the applicant is the carpentry business that's going to build the garage, then that's one thing, but if that's also the homeowner and that potentially the business could be run out of that, then that's different. From the aesthetics of it, I mean, it's a huge, lovely corner lot that's really well mature treed, to kind of save the view from neighbors, and it's basically bounded by the main street and the cemeteries, so I don't see that aesthetically it would be a problem. But certainly, it could be a concern if the applicant that's on the document is also the homeowner. So that would be my question, I guess, and
Okay.
whether it would be business or not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Sharp?
Mrs. Olberg, I just want to clarify, the planner did say that it wasn't to be used for business,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the old words
I know,
action.
yeah.
Thank you for that.
Okay, anyone else?
For information is Eleanor Link.
Eleanor Link, 1045 Toshack Road. Are home occupations allowed at all in the West St. Paul zoning? This is, I guess, through the mayor to the planner.
Yeah, okay, just, so you want, just keep asking your questions.
It would be conditional use, would it not, planner? He's just gonna check the zoning,
Yeah.
but normally.
A home occupation is a conditional use, which is like a home-based business, like an office kind of thing. A home industry, which you could have employees, that's not even allowed.
It's not allowed?
Not allowed, not a
Okay.
home industry, no.
So if this was Thiessen Andes Custom Carpentry Limited, if this is a home business, the condition will not allow it, correct?
That's correct, according to what
And
it is right now.
Perhaps that's why, I'm speculating, the applicant isn't here.
Well, we don't know
The applicant
why.
isn't here,
Yeah.
unfortunately, so cannot answer
Yeah.
any of the questions that people might have.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's the applicant's responsibility to be here, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else?
Last one is Jerry Bilinski for information.
Jerry Belinky, 354 Gardenview Drive. I wonder if we can get the picture of that building on here. I see all the windows. Is that going to be like a mezzanine floor?
Yeah. The applicant isn't here, so we can't answer those questions.
Well, we have to.
We don't know the
we-
intent,
We
like,
probably have to agree that it's going to be, because there's no need to put windows if there's nobody going to be looking out them. So I'll have to change to against. There's no information, and it looks to me like that's going to be either living quarters, or it's going to be office spaces, or we don't know.
yeah.
But that's all we know is there's windows, and people are going to look out the windows. They're not putting them out for no reason.
Well,
So-
actually, Mayor, if I may,
Go ahead.
if you look at page 7 and you bring it up to like 165%, look closely,
I don't
there
have
are
page
2
7.
offices there already. on
I'm
the
sorry?
sec- There are offices on the
Okay,
second
so
floor.
then it's a business.
And there are actually, there's a coffee bar and a few things, so, yeah.
Yeah, so anyhow, I'm against.
Anyone else? None? Okay, so then I'll close the public hearing.
Pardon me, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Just before you close, Councillor Kleiber was asking about fencing. I haven't driven by the property, but just looking on Google Earth, I don't see anything. in
There's no fencing at all.
I don't see it.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's all right. So, the, close public hearing, VO 9524. Peter, is that, go ahead.
Question. So I'm just wondering, with the applicant not here, would one of the options be available to council that we could read that the RM could reach out to the applicant and that we could adjourn this to a future council meeting to deal with the applicant present, and then inform the applicant that if they're still not there at the next meeting, that we'll just make a decision? Is that a possibility?
I'm not in favor of
I'm
that.
prepared to deal with it right now.
Yeah, I'm prepared to deal with it too. It's, to the mayor, and
Okay.
if I can respond to Counselor Pactican. Counselor Pactican, if you look at page 7, you can clearly see there's office space designated here. And, it looks like,
Yeah, no, yeah, I've read the.
yeah,
Okay,
so
that's good. Let's just
it
deal
looks
with
to
that.
me like that's where we're going.
Fair enough, let's deal with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay. Be it resolved that council does hereby close the public hearing and resume the regular meeting of council. Can I have a mover, please?
Move it.
Councilor Bichetti moves it. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second.
Councilor Clyber seconds it. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor? Okay, go down to 5.53, variance VO 9524, whereas the application of variance 9524 was received for the property. Oh, this is not the right one.
Got the wrong one?
Number 53.
523.
2, 3. Sorry, 2, 3. Whereas applicants for variance 8924 were received for the property located at 28 Pendennis Drive to increase the size of an accessory structure from 800 square feet to 2,240 square feet, and increase the height of the accessory structure from a maximum of 15 feet to a maximum of 24 feet in the RG residential general zone. And whereas under sub-provisions of the Planning Act, the public hearing has been held to hear representations for both for and against. Therefore, be it hereby resolved that careful consideration, Council of the RM of West St. Paul hereby approve variance 8924 with the following conditions. This variance is limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacements, or additions would require a new variance approval. Applicant owner obtain all required permits from the Red River Planning District and the municipality if required. The proposed accessory structure is not to be used for home occupation or home industry, and the proposed accessory structure and the existing 11.9 feet by 20.05 feet detached accessory structure be removed upon completion of the proposed structure. The variance order will expire and cease to have any effect if it is not acted upon within 12 months of the date of the decision. Our board, council, or planning commission may extend the deadline under subsection 1 for an additional period no longer than 12 months if an application is received before the initial date. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councilor Clyburn moves. Can I have a seconder, please? Councilor Bichetti seconds. Any comments, questions? Councilor Clyburn?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be supporting this application. It's clear to me that there's gonna be a business running here. It's, got offices upstairs. I think he's gonna use the basement as the bottom part as a shop. It looks very nice, but that's why it's 2,400 square feet versus 800. And, he's not here to give us any information. And, you know, if he wanted to run a business there, he should have been applying for a conditional use before the variance. So I don't wanna approve something that's gonna go in there and be a problem for my constituents on either side. There would have to be a lot of mitigation, and I would want those constituents to be on board, but, you know, this kind of business needs to be in a commercial highway zone or industrial zone, because it's clearly going to be a carpentry business, so, and that's who the applicant is.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments, questions?
Yeah,
Councilor Pactan?
yeah, I will be supporting the application as well, in addition to the concerns that it could be a home-based business. The physical size and scale of this particular shed is just far too large for the community, so I will be supporting the application.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments, questions?
Just,
Go ahead.
was that the app? Did they come in after? Okay.
No, they're different.
Okay, can I call for the vote? All in favor? See none. All against?
Nay.
Nay.
Nay. Okay, defeated. Now we go down to 5.3. open up a public hearing. Be it resolved that the meeting of council recess for the purpose of a public hearing pursuant to section 96A of the Planning Act. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councilor Clyburn moves. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second it.
Councilor Pat Can seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. I'll ask the planner to speak on variance order 9524.
Thank you, Mayor. As you noted, this is 9524. It's for a property located at 10 Park Lane, and it's to reduce the interior side yard setback to allow an existing single-family dwelling to remain in the SR zone. Specifically going from 4 feet down to 1.9 feet. Can you go to the next slide, please? And here's the subject property. You can see with the house there, just a couple houses in from on the block. And the next one. Thank you. And here's the building location certificate. So this was prompted from a zoning memorandum, which is pretty standard. They asked us to have a look to make sure that the building was placed where it's supposed to be. It should be noted that the front porch has been identified as a canopy that is 1.9 feet from the property line. Front porches are allowed to be there so long as they're uncovered according to your zoning bylaw. I'm not sure this is completely different than what was issued as a building permit, but it's how the land surveyor has labeled it as a canopy. That's not allowed there. Also, just as note, we've put on the highest degree of the variance there. You'll also note that the building itself would have required variances because it was a smidge off on the site. You'll see on the north side, the property setback is 4.05 feet, but then on the south side, it's 3.8 feet. So it looks like it was just put a bit of skew when it was built. So that's all I have on this. Just that if council approves it, the variance would be limited to what's been presented in the application. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the planner?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Councilor Shay.
Through the chair, Mr. Planner, can you explain, okay, canopy to the roof line? Like, I drove by this house because I couldn't understand exactly here.
Yeah,
It's literally the roof line of the house.
yeah.
So it's not like it's a separate, built-on roof on a landing or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's, to say canopy, I would think that is a separate unit, like separate cosmetic looking, but this is literally part of the whole entire roof line.
Yeah, I don't disagree. So your zoning bylaw and the permitted projections allows for, I'll say like, I think it says like porches and the such, to project into the setbacks, so long as they're uncovered. But you see when you drove by, it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
So why would this, since it, and what I'm getting at is the whole structure of the roof,
Yeah.
would this not have been picked up during framing, during, like,
Building
any of that,
review.
during any of the inspections?
During the permit issuance?
Yeah.
So why is it being, this is a completely finished house, landscaped, I think there's already people living in it, it's,
Mm-hmm.
to see it coming up, and, you know, with what we've been hearing from some of the inspectors, picking up the small things, and then what I'm calling small thing, I'm not a builder, so.
Sure.
But to miss something like this, that it, you know, okay, 3.89 or 3.9 at the back, that happens, okay, but to turn around and miss almost 2 feet, just over 2 feet, that's gonna be, so I'm just wondering, well, it gets dropped on us, but at the same time, it should have been picked up at the permitting inspection level.
I
Yeah,
don't
why is it
disagree.
being picked up now?
Pardon me?
Why is it being picked up now?
It would be picked up now because the zoning memorandum would have gone to one of the planners to have a look at it, who probably did a more thorough review of the zoning bylaw.
But what I'm saying is what Councillor Bichetti's saying is, okay, so we've gone through all these inspections, the house is built. Has the final inspection taken place?
I don't know. I'd have to
Because
look that up.
that would then
Would
trigger,
assume.
why is this so close to the property line, would it not?
Yeah, I would say that it should have been picked up at the review of the application stage.
Yeah, and when the roof was inspected, when the framing was done, you would have had to pick that up as well.
Before that, yeah.
Before that, yeah.
When you're actually reviewing the plans.
So,
Because as I said, you're allowed to have a porch and that sort of thing, that's fine.
Yeah.
And it can be that close to the property line, as long as it's not covered. So that should have been identified long before, I don't disagree. Yeah,
so
I know you appreciate, I don't review
is there
this.
occupancy here? Is there a builder here?
I don't know who's in the audience. If you bear with me, I can probably look online to see what stage it's at for inspections, that sort of thing. If you want to continue on, I can look that up if you like.
Yeah, I'd like to know if the final occupancy has been granted.
Sure.
Because I can't see it being granted unless the variance is granted.
That's at the back, isn't it, the same?
Yeah, I mean, this is a massive house on a very
Mr.
small
Mayor, I'm
lot.
just gonna, while maybe, Mr. Eno can, what, the front right of the house, cause the back it's 4.05, is it the same 4.05 at the front, do we know? There isn't a measurement there.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
Yeah, it looks different, doesn't it?
Well, I was just, where I was going with that is I wanted to see if the house was maybe built, you know, at an angle slightly, and that's why it's, which I don't think it is, cause it's 3.8 to the pillar and then 3.9 in the back, so I don't, if it is, it's not much. Like, it was planned like this, as Mr. Eno said, right from the get-go, it should have been caught.
The applicant's a law firm. I'm very familiar with this law firm.
I didn't even look to see who
But
the
you
applicant
can't.
was.
But I don't know why a law firm is the applicant. It's very strange.
I can only speculate. They may be involved in the closing of the mortgage or something like that. Sometimes these things are required for
Okay.
that sort of thing,
Yeah.
yeah. That'd just be a guess, though.
As Counselor Brussetti had said, you know, the house is completely landscaped. I'm fairly certain it's probably occupied at this point.
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah, it is occupied,
Okay,
but
sir, if you're gonna speak, you have to come forward. You have to
You'll
wait.
get your chance.
It does, if I'm reading this correctly on our system, and I apologize, it's not something I do on a regular basis on that
Yeah,
side of the
no,
shop.
that's fair.
It doesn't look like occupancy has been issued. It looks like there might be a couple of deficiencies in inspection still.
Okay. Okay.
So, anyone have any other questions? So on the drawing, there is this little square box, this AC, that is probably,
Air conditioning,
yes, is there a variance for that? Because that is.
that's
probably
allowed to project.
That much? Okay.
I just say carry on.
Yeah, any other questions? Is the applicant here?
Yes?
We don't have anyone registered, but they may be in the room.
Okay,
Well, they can, they can register under four in favor of, right?
okay. Is there anyone for? Registered for?
No one that's registered, no.
And anything against?
No. Or sorry, there is. Is the applicant here though? Or the property owner, anyone who wanted to speak in favor?
Okay.
In opposition is Norma Albert.
Okay.
Okay.
Norma Albert, 312 Evelyn Avenue. First, I'd like to just quickly preface this. I noticed in these planning documents that there seems to be a new format. And I find that, I think that it is important for us to know who has authored the report. And we don't know that in this new format. And in the old format, it was always there. And then related to that as well is when and how the documents get circulated. And one already tonight is, questioned whether or not the fire department was circulated on one, so we don't know those. And so the new format, if they're testing a new one, I think it needs to still be tested.
So how does it relate to this?
What's that?
How does it relate, on what you're asking for, how does it relate to this
Well,
one?
I said that I wanted to preface with that.
Okay,
So this one on Park Lane, I am registered opposed. I have listened to the conversation to date, and so I'll just give my brief notes and questions here. Firstly, my question was, is the applicant the owner of the house? I do recall 3 previous cases that I think were similar, but I'm not quite understanding what the roof lines are. But if I quick review those, there was 2 in Meadowlands that were under construction, and the council voted for both of those to be fixed at this front door canopy. Another was in the Trails, and it had the front door canopy overhang, and again, the council, and this house was fully occupied, but council still turned down the variance and wanted it fixed. So there is a pattern here. Now, I'm wondering if there is any consistency with who the builders are on these homes? And if so, is there something that can be done in education or follow-up with those if there is consistency there? And the other, related to your conversations to date, is there any process change that can be made throughout the building and the inspection process so that we could avert this from happening again, because we're seeing the same thing over and over? I think it, for the most part, relates back to our zoning bylaws, where we have, in recent years, changed to this 4-foot side yards, and with such large coverage, there's just very little room for error. And we're seeing problems consistently with that. Thank you.
I just,
Oh, go ahead,
just wanna
Councilor
comment, just, you brought up the 3 other, I believe it was 3,
That I
That we
recall
changed.
recently, yeah.
but which were all non-structural items.
Yeah.
It was all cosmetic design on the house.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting at. This is the
So this
complete
is a
roof
different-
line
yeah.
of the entire home. That's what I wasn't sure how it was written there. That's why I drove
Yeah.
by it.
Yeah.
And, you know,
So if that is so, then clearly there's something wrong with the processes that
well, the
didn't
person
catch
did their
this
due
along the
diligence.
way. Yeah.
You know, it went to the planning board and
Yeah.
something that big, and that's what we were getting at is, well, how did that get missed, so. But
Yeah.
yeah, just to clarify, and the other 3 were cosmetic
Cosmetic,
changes to this would be a complete
Sure.
restructure of the whole roof.
yeah,
So, that's all I just
thank,
wanted to clarify.
thank you.
I just wonder if there was a change in plans from the original, and who knows, like, they were
But we're
submitted.
never gonna know because nobody's here to speak
Yeah,
on it.
and we don't have the inspectors to ask either, so.
Thank you.
okay.
I'd like to know who the builder was on this one. And I don't know if we can find that out, and you don't have to say the name, but I would like to get that information to council, because I'm not very happy about the situation. Yeah, it's
Councilor
unacceptable.
Machado?
I know that this, it was asked for the last one that to deal with it right away, but I think this one we, as Councillor Kleiber said, finding out who the builder is. And I think it's more for council to see if it's consistently happening,
Mhm.
because we've had a couple significant ones in the past. And I just wanna see if it's, if this was
Same
an
builder.
error, or was there a change up in the build, you know, midway through?
Yeah, I'd like some explanation as to why
Yeah.
this occurred, so that it doesn't occur again. I mean, if somebody's coming to us ahead of time to ask for permission, but this is basically, I've done it, so.
Well, they've done it, but they
Yeah.
did it the proper way. It went in for all its permitting and stuff. It wasn't.
Well, we don't know that.
Well, yeah, okay.
I mean, we know now the drawing is what we got on this variance, but we don't know what they submitted on the permit, right?
Exactly.
So then that kinda makes me wonder. It's the old adage of asking
we
for
carry this-
forgiveness rather than
Pass this one
permission.
on.
Coun-
Carry this one to the next one. or-
I feel like, honestly, council, I feel like the builder should be penalized for this. I really, there's no excuse. They know what the setbacks are, they know what the side yards are, they know better. So,
I I tend to agree with Councilor Kleiber. I think, you know, it's unfortunate that the inspectors didn't catch it, but I think the builder also has to accept some of the responsibility. They're coming in this municipality, they should know what our bylaws are, they should make sure that it passes.
Yeah.
There's, it seems like the builders, they wanna come here, they wanna build, and they just hope that the inspectors don't catch it. And they're relying on the inspectors to be their quality controls when the builder should take some ownership in this, and they should make sure that they're doing the job according to what the bylaws are in our municipality. So, Councilor Bichetti?
I'm gonna agree with you that the builder has to take some responsibility, but so does, the plan, it falls on the other end too, the final inspections, which all of this should fall on.
I know.
And, like, I'm not gonna say any more on that, cause I think I've said enough, but I'd like some more information on this one before we discuss it anymore.
Do we wanna reserve our judgment on this one tonight then?
I'd like to
And
find out.
get more information?
Yes, I'm good with that.
How many people, where does Councilor Patcan stand on this?
My thoughts on this is that we've had a few applications like this already. And I think that, for me, this is symptomatic of the whole idea of smaller lots in West St. Paul with a 4-foot side yard
Yeah.
and building the maximum amount of, maximum amount of footprint on these lots. And, the builders have got to be laser focused on this. There is a remedy for this. The roof might have to be ripped off and reconstructed, but I'm not sure that's council's issue to deal with. This is something that they have to be laser focused on. It's not our issue. I think our issue is ensuring that when these 4-foot side yards and we have variance for them, I think that we've done the right thing over the last few times, sticking to our policies and adhering to them as strict as possible. If this was a larger side yard, there would be more for allowance, but unfortunately there isn't. I won't be supporting this application, and even finding out more information isn't going to change my mind, because that's neither here nor there. Our job is to look at what the variance is and whether or not we agree on it. Like, I'm trying to find some sympathy here, but unfortunately it is what it is, and I would say I'm not supporting this application.
Okay, so I guess, question is, do we move this?
Do you wanna table it and get more information, or?
Mr. Mayor? Mr.
Go
Mayor,
ahead.
if council wants to table this to the November 14th meeting, that's fine. I'd be happy to look into, I think what I was hearing of kind of like a timeline of things that
Yeah,
would
what
happen.
happened with, is this the plan?
What was submitted originally,
Yeah,
what's
that was
there
submitted
now, was there a
originally.
change?
Yeah.
Was there a mistake by the builder or by the
What happened on the
reviewer, or
inspections?
both, or
Yeah,
what?
Yeah,
I'd be happy to look into that.
who
As
was the
for,
builder?
yeah, as for some of that information, I'll look as well as if there's, if we can share, or what we can share under FIPA kind of stuff. So, be happy to look into that if you want to table it to then.
Okay,
Yeah, and we could also inform the applicants or the homeowner builder that's, there's gonna be another hearing, maybe you wanna come.
yeah, good idea.
This is not a cosmetic fix. This is
This is huge,
council,
yeah.
this is restructuring the whole roof of the home. Well, could be rebuilding the whole upper section, so.
And I agree, and sometimes the builder has to pay for that cost to make it get it right the first time.
But if we find out it was the planning board's fault, then what?
Either way, the builder should have known about it. We can't, you know what?
Can't
We-
speculate right now.
No, we can't speculate. We can't rely for the inspectors to catch everything. The builders, they should know what the bylaws in this municipality are, and they should be well attuned to it, and they should make sure that their people are doing it right. Yes, they make mistakes, but they shouldn't be blaming it onto the inspectors, because they have to take some responsibility for this also.
I understand that, Mr. Mayor, but they did their due diligence, they put their application, and that's why I'd like to know, as Counselor Kleiber said, was there changes in this? They put
Yeah.
their application in, it was approved and on this property.
Yeah,
So was it,
so did they
we
slip
can
this
blame
in?
as much as we want on the builder.
Yeah,
If there's a framer, there's a builder, there's finishing, it's all different trades that are gonna come in and do it. if the planning, if you've got your permit and everything's falling into order, you're thinking everything's right and you keep going.
I
Until you
think
get
what-
into,
what
I
we-
don't wanna speculate anymore on this. I
No,
think
I don't wanna
it's-
speculate either,
Yeah.
but I do want the information
Yes,
before I make the decision. I
So we-
think it's fair enough to say we don't have enough information and what went wrong here, and it has to be corrected. Even if we approve or not approve, we still need to correct what happened here, so that it doesn't keep happening. And maybe we need to put a memo out to some of the builders and say, we're not gonna approve this thing if you keep doing this. Yeah. So, what do we need to do to carry it over? Just say we're tabling it till the next meeting?
Do you guys want to table it?
Be it adjourned to,
Okay,
Yeah.
we want to- okay, we'll table it.
it
So
would-
you would adjourn this public hearing
Okay.
to 6 PM on November 14th.
I didn't get a chance to speak. I was registered in opposition. It's fine now, but I hope I will be able to speak at the next.
We haven't
one.
adjourned yet,
We
so
haven't adjourned.
we can still hear the rest of them.
Is there more people that wanted to?
Yeah.
3 more.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's listen to them.
but if we do that, are they able to speak at the next hearing? No, correct?
No, okay.
they are, just a correction.
Just-
If you adjourn a meeting, or if you adjourn a public hearing,
Okay.
people are allowed to speak again, but only to the new information.
Okay,
So if you say something today, you're not supposed to be bringing up the same things at the next one. So if there's new information, you can speak to that. Is that,
Okay.
So we can give them the option?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's read the names and give them the option.
Eleanor Link registered again.
Do you want to speak now, or do you want to?
Well, listening to the planner, I will be able to speak about new information. if
New
it comes
information
up.
only, but,
But now I want to talk about something that's not
Okay.
going to come
Sure.
up again, probably.
okay,
Eleanor Link, 1045 Toshack Road. Again, I agree with council saying that there have been other instances where similar changes were required. And I have an issue with how this report, how the planner's application purpose, how that reads. Because it reads, the application proposes to reduce the interior side yard setback in our order to allow for an existing single-family dwelling to remain on the subject property. Well, that's not what council has done in the past. They have not said that any properties can't remain. And this is what it's reading as if that's your job, to decide whether it can remain or not. I just simply have an issue with how that is expressed. Perhaps if they said to remain on the subject property as is. But you have to have the option of asking for changes. And I don't think anybody in this room is a building engineer able to talk about what would be necessary to correct this problem. You need something else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Against is Jerry Belenky.
I have a question about the question. If-
Okay, do you want to come forward?
I just want, Jerry Belanky, 354 Garden View Drive, West St. Paul. The question I have, if I talk today, I could talk about next meeting, about what's new information. But can I still talk about the stuff I wanted to talk today at the next meeting?
yes.
As long as you don't talk about it today.
Okay.
Okay. You have that choice. You either talk about it today or you talk about it next meeting.
Okay, I'll save my comments for
Okay.
after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And lastly is Gurpinder Dinsai.
Yeah, I don't want to talk today.
Oh, you want to wait? Okay. Good.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay. So then we'll postpone this meeting.
Adjourn.
You got to adjourn it first?
You would adjourn the public hearing to 6 PM on November 14th, 2024.
Is there a resolution for that?
I'll move it.
No, wait. Is that the resolution? Or
Yep.
can you read it for me, please?
Certainly. Be it resolved that council do hereby adjourn the public hearing to 6 PM, November 14th, 2024, and resume the regular meeting of council.
Okay, can I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Can I second? Councilor Machete seconds it, Councilor Clyber moves it. Any comments, questions? Do I hear anything from Mike? Okay, hearing none, can I, pardon?
I would say call the question.
Okay, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, carried.
Next.
So next, okay. So now we open up the public hearing. Be it resolved that the meeting, public hearing, conditional use CU 2424, be it resolved that this meeting of council recess for the purpose of holding a public hearing pursuant to section 105 of the Planning Act. Could I have a mover, please?
I'll move it.
Councilor Clyber moves. Can I have a seconder, please? Councilor Shetty seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. 5.4.1, I'll have public hearing on CU 2424. I'll have the planner present.
Thank you, sir. This is conditional use number 24 of 2024 at 3 Anderson Way in West St. Paul. The purpose is to establish a automobile service station. That's what's listed in your, how it's listed in your zoning bylaw, but really it's a gas station is what we're talking about here. Can you do the next one? So just once again, in table 17 of the commercial highway zone, a service station or gas station is listed as a conditional use. This is in the, I guess I'll say the newer business park, thank you. With not frontage, but visual from 101 and with pipeline just off to the east there. As I noted, the applicant wishes to establish a gas station. The municipality has reviewed this and would require a landscaping plan and building elevations for review, as well as any revisions to the grade of the grading for the property if needed. If you want to approve this, there are 4 conditions. First two are the standard ones that this is limited to what's being proposed here. They need to obtain all required permits. And then from the municipality, owner submits a landscape plan, building elevations in accordance with the applicable design standards to the municipality for review and approval. And finally, that any proposed revisions to the approved grade for this property is required to receive approval from the municipal engineer. That's all I have on this, Mr. Mayor, if you have any questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Council, have any questions for the planner? Councilor Machete?
Okay, just for clarification here on the letter of intent, it's listing under service station, okay?
Mhm.
But it's not saying anything about servicing, it's saying car wash, convenience store, electric car charging station, that kind of stuff. But if this went up, and would there be room after would they have to come back if they were to come in and all of a sudden sort of service, like vehicle service, oil, lube, filter, that kind of stuff?
Oh, like mechanical servicing.
Exactly, it's called service station, so I'm just wondering if that would fall under the same conditions and.
Just give me a brief second. That's a good question. I'm just looking at my zoning bylaw.
Figure out how are you gonna get there? Like, how are you gonna get there road-wise? It's here, right? So you would have to come all the way like this, like this, like this, like this.
So service station does not include the repair. That would be the automobile repair category. Service station includes sale of gasoline and petroleum products. Washing. Oh no, hold on a second. Sorry, I think I misspoke. Means a building a portion thereof of land use for the servicing, washing, and repairing of vehicles. Sorry, that's it.
Oh, there is
And the
repair.
sale of gasoline, other petroleum products, could also include eating and drinking establishments in there, car washes, that sort of thing. So it would include repairing of vehicles. If council doesn't want to see that, there is always the option that you can add that as a condition, that's not allowed.
Just a comment, Mayor. even on the letter of intent, it says there is currently no gas station in West St. Paul.
Must be a little better.
There's one on Capitalist. So how is there no gas station in West St. Paul? So I don't know if this person's done their homework, but maybe they're here and they can give us some explanation.
Any other questions for the planner? Ting?
Oh, yeah, I do have a question.
Go ahead.
So to the planner, how, based on the road, what do you call it, the road
Layout.
map in this development, how are they getting to the gas station? Because
question.
Holmes Road's gonna be closed, right? So they have to go off of Pipeline, all the way through the development, all the way around, and then they'll hit the gas station. Is that correct?
That's how I would assume.
Okay, good, thank you.
Any other questions for the planner? Is the applicant here?
They're not registered, but
Okay.
they may be in the room.
Are they in the room?
Nope, doesn't look like it.
Okay.
We don't have anyone registered in support. In opposition is Norma Alba.
Okay. Want to come forward?
Norma Alberg, 312 Evelyn. Well, the traffic, I am opposed to this, but basically on the timing. I think if we can look at the map, the location map. So the triangular portion there at Holmes and Pipeline, my understanding is that's sort of reserved by transportation until they figure out what they're going to do at that major problematic intersection. And so I think that the timing is bad, and certainly if Holmes Road also gets closed, then yeah, all of that traffic would be coming down through the entire development. But otherwise, that north perimeter and Pipeline has been for multiple years now extremely hazardous. And it's full multifamily residential within the city that's building and making its way north on Pipeline. So that residential density is just going to rapidly increase. And then, of course, this business park, when it's built out, will be a lot of traffic. So I think, yes, I noticed it said we didn't have a gas station. We do have the one, but I think for the traveling public that's on the perimeter, they're probably seeing it as they're driving along and wondering if and when they ever could get into it. But by the time that they figure that they probably can't get into it, now they're past, so everybody would be coming to one further down the highway, because they
But
missed
that
out.
doesn't give you highway access. You still have to figure out how to get there.
Yes, but they may see that intersection at Pipeline and take it. I think it's going to be much too busy, not only for the residents and the businesses of West St. Paul. It actually will cater to that traveling public that's just zipping through, and they're not from staying, doing anything with West St. Paul other than fueling up and carrying on. So I think that from a traffic standpoint, the timing is off. We really shouldn't be bringing something like that until that North Perimeter Highway alterations have been done, and that could be years down the road.
Okay, anything else?
I think, nope, that's it. Thank you.
Anyone else for opposition or information?
No one else registered against. For information is Eleanor Link.
Okay.
Eleanor Link, 1045 Toshack Road. Again, the applicant isn't here. I've got a lineup of questions, but I think only the applicant can answer them, so we don't have enough information, and that's up to the applicant.
Thank you.
His responsibility or her responsibility. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Lastly is Jerry Belinkie for information.
Jerry Belinkie, 354 Garden View Drive. I'd like to change mine to against. I just we know that there's a new design coming, and it looks like it's gonna have to go through that, but the question I have, because they say it's a gas station, are we gonna be selling diesel? Because we have a lot of trucks and him, being said that there's no gas station in West St. Paul. Just wondering if he means like a truck stop in West St. Paul. Like I know we're not saying it, but like what could be there? Gas stations sell diesel, and if you're selling diesel, you have trucks. So how big is the property? That's one of the questions, and that, could it
It's almost
flourish
3
into?
acres.
It's-
Sorry?
Almost 3 acres. It's,
Yeah,
So
this-
that's a fair-sized lot, isn't it? So
It is, but it's also talking about electric vehicle charging stations and
Well,
car washes and,
We've
and
talked
I
about
guess
lots
if
of
the
things.
applicant was here, they could speak to that, but
Well,
it's,
We can sit here and speculate all.
we can all, yeah, we can
night.
speculate all we want, but,
sorry, 2.74. I knew it
Yeah,
was in-
so then you have to make a decision on what's here, and the
Yeah.
applicant isn't here, so.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Raj. Anyone else? No, none? No one else have any questions? Okay, let's close the public hearing for conditional use 2424. Be it resolved that council do hereby close the public hearing and resume the regular meeting of council. Could I have a mover, please?
so moved.
Councilor Clyburn moves. Can I have a seconder, please? Councilor Bichetti seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. Now we're down to 5.43, Resolution CU 2424. Whereas the application has applied for conditional use 2024 to permit a gas station categorized as an automobile service station on the property located at 3 Anderson Way in this commercial highway zone. And whereas under provisions of the Planning Act, the public hearing has been held to hear representation for or against the conditional use application. Now therefore be it resolved that the rural municipality of West St. Paul approves conditional use 2024. Under the following conditions, this conditional use is limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacement, or additions would require a new approval. Application owner obtain all required permits from the Red River Planning District and the municipality if required. Applicant owner submit a landscape plan and building elevations in accordance with for the applicant's design guidelines to the municipality for review and approval. Any proposed deviation to the proposed grade of this property is required to receive approval from the municipal engineer. The approval of conditional use will expire and cease to have any effect if it is not acted upon within 12 months of the date of the decision. A board, council, or planning commission may extend the deadline under subsection 110(1) of the addition, for an additional period of no longer than 12 months if the application is received before the initial deadline date, or for a second period of no more than 12 months if an application receives before the expiry date of the first extension. Is there any other conditions you want to approve, add to this, or none? Okay, can I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Council Clyburn moves, Council Bichetti seconds it. Any comments, questions?
Oh, I got comments.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not gonna support this application. There's no, water services there for a car wash. It's gonna draw down on the aquifer, and there's residential homes in the area, so I'm not happy about that. I don't think this applicant has done their due diligence in their application, or they would know that Holmes Road was gonna be closed. And so the road access is not there either. The road access is gonna have to go through the entire development to get to the gas station. Second thing is, we do have a gas station in West St. Paul, which is on Caplis. I don't think we need to be the RM that has gas stations for diesel and trucks, because they have lots of that on Route 90. You just go into Route 90 and there's gas stations galore. And so, just the proximity, the road access, we already have a gas station. This is just not gonna work for this lot. It's just not gonna work, and I'm not gonna support this application.
Okay. Council Bichetti?
If I may, through the chair, to our planner, or the RM planner, is there not a condition on this industrial park that high-use water would, companies or facilities would not be allowed into these into this I know there was seed plant, there was that kind of, but wouldn't a car wash be considered a high-use water, however it was worded in there?
I don't recall car wash being restricted to that area, but I know, there were certain restrictions regarding seed.
Water, yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
not just the water, it's not just the use of water, but it's the discharge of water
yeah,
at the same time.
disposal.
So,
Yep.
and without getting any answers, more clarified information to this, like sending it all through a development like this, sending every piece of equipment, machinery, anything through there for fuel, I wouldn't be in favor of this.
No.
Any other comments, questions? Councilor Fatcan?
Yeah, I just would like to say that it's really unfortunate that the applicant has not come out today. I certainly had a few questions I wanted to ask, and unfortunately, I'm not in a position to be able to make an informed decision, so I will be supporting the application.
Okay, any other comments? None? Okay, can I call for the vote? All in favor? See none, can I call for those against?
Nay.
Nay.
Nay. Carried.
Defeated.
Defeated. Sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
Careful with that.
Yeah. Where am I here? 20? Oh, 5.
5.5.
Yep, 5.5, okay. So now we open the public hearing, conditional use C 2824. Be it resolved that this meeting of council recessed for the purpose of holding a public hearing pursuant to section 105 of the Planning Act. Could I have a mover, please?
So,
Councilor Shetty moves, seconder. Councilor Fatcan seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. Okay, I'll go to the planner. He can do his presentation, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This is conditional use 28 of 2024. It's the property located on the corner of Main Street and Parkview Point. I'll also just say roll number 32334, because there isn't actually an address. Purpose is to allow for a drive-through facility in the CH zone. Table 17 outlines that drive-through facilities, for whatever they're for, is a conditional use, whether that be for a bank teller or a restaurant, and this is for a restaurant. Here's the subject property that we're familiar with, outlined with the black hash mark. Thank you. And here's a bit of a site plan that the applicant has provided, where the restaurant would be located on the east end of the property. I should note that a restaurant is a permitted use, so you're not here to make a decision on if the restaurant can be there. It's just the drive-through portion of that restaurant. I'd also like to note that your zoning bylaw does have a minimum number of queuing spaces or parking stacking spaces in the drive-through of 5, and the site plan illustrates there are 12 vehicle spaces at the very least. Should council wish to approve this, there are 3 conditions. One is that the conditional use is limited to what's been presented in the application. Any further changes would require it to come back. Applicant obtains all required permits, as well as that the applicant enters into a development agreement with the municipality to address items, but not limited to lot grading, parking, internal traffic flow, access, landscaping, and the such. I would also like to note that late this afternoon, we did get comments from Highways. I'm not sure if they're in your docket or not. They were put in your docket late, where they have also noted that they wanted some conditions. I believe we provided that to you in a resolution where they're paraphrased. Essentially, they're asking that the applicant provide information to the province to determine if any drainage from this site is going to adversely affect the highway. That's fairly standard from them. As well as provide traffic impact study, preliminary traffic projections, possibly a traffic impact study, as well as obtain a permit for the removal of an existing access onto PTH number 9 and a new access onto Parkview Points. So those are their comments, and I think they're in your official resolution package. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Does council have any questions for the planner?
Yeah,
Councilor
I do have
Bichetti?
a question on the
Councilor
cons.
Bichetti was first.
Oh, sure.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
To the planner, Looking at the drawings, it doesn't show that that piece of land even has any accesses to Main Street. There's a piece of land to the north of that, which we just we didn't amalgamate, we put into commercial
Rezoned.
property.
Yeah.
That has one, but I don't think,
Right here.
yeah.
I'm not sure if they're referring, Counselor, to a physical access or one just on the books, so to speak.
I live
think-
right across from that, so I've never seen an access to
Yeah.
Main
Do
Street.
you know what it is? It is the house that was there?
But that's not this piece of property.
Okay, well, we'll let the applicant
Okay,
speak to
but
that.
yeah.
'Cause I think he did say
Beside the
that.
fact,
I'm wondering, Counselor, if it's a scenario that we sometimes see when agriculture land is subdivided. Sometimes there's an access that was granted years
okay.
ago, but never actually developed, and they just want to,
Yeah.
balance the books, so to speak.
I just wanna clarify that, like, we're speaking on this piece of land, they can't be bringing up the next parcel of land, correct? Cause we have to speak about what's, the piece of land we're working with this variance.
That's correct. The only conditions that can be added are conditions that relate to the subject property, nothing off-site. You're
That's all I
correct.
wanted to clarify.
Any other questions? Councillor Clyburn?
So on the concept plan,
Yes, ma'am.
I see the existing approach, and I'm pretty sure, and the applicant can tell us, but I'm pretty sure that's where the house was that they're gonna take down. So that's why there's an existing approach. But, my question is, this is just for the Tim Hortons, but we see the concept plan for all the other things that they're gonna do there. But we're only focusing on the Tim Hortons. So when I look at this, it's the drive-throughs going through, and then how are they coming out? It looks like they're coming out the same way that they went in, so I'm just wondering how they're queuing that. I'm assuming that they're gonna queue through and then go through the parking lot and out. But maybe the applicant can speak to that. Yeah, I think that's the way it's gonna go. Okay, and other than that, I'm looking good.
Okay.
Hear from the.
I have a question.
Go, Councillor Paxton, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So to the planner, would it be within council's purview to, with regards to the drive-through, in terms of lighting and landscaping, if council were to approve this, to request a plan approval of the lighting and landscaping for the drive-through?
What, I'm sorry, what?
That's all here.
That's all done.
A lighting?
Lighting
Lighting
and
and
My question is,
It's there, it's on page 6 of the package. Maybe we could have the applicant speak to that.
Go ahead. Can the planner answer that question? or-
I can try. I'm not sure I fully understand the question, Counselor. Condition number 3 does require the applicant to enter into a development agreement. And you could add in things like lighting and landscaping is already mentioned, but if lighting is a concern, that could be added into that. Through the building permit process, typically what happens is when there's a development agreement on site, we will send the plans to administration here and just to make sure that everything adheres to what's written in the development agreement. Is that what you're asking for?
yes, and just that council would have, provide some feedback into that, whether it's a yay or nay in terms of what they're submitting. I guess that's more for my colleagues. Just
Okay.
putting it out there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, is the applicant available?
Yes, we have Bob Dooley.
Here's I submitted 2 plans to the planner. Here's the other one showing the Brightview access in the entire area.
You only have a copy of the one?
I only have one in the file, but I
Oh, okay, no.
I can give Pam,
I'll just-
I think Pam's got several copies.
That's in our packet.
No, not all the way, it stops here.
There's 2 plans, there's 2 site plans.
Yeah, we only have the one, the short one that
Yeah.
doesn't show here, just so you see it.
That's the other one.
That's you, that's me.
Stop.
See if I have any more.
Is it this one, Councillor Boucher?
Where's, what page is that? Council Sharp.
It's a separate attachment, and it's a concept plan.
Oh,
Click on concept plan. And you'll get it. There
Yeah, I
it
didn't
is.
click on that one either. I see
I
it
thought
now.
it was the same. Oh, yes.
Basically, that's what you're looking at. That gives you a little more, but.
One's a blow up of the area and the other one is the entire area.
That's
No,
why
that's a
Yeah.
lot clearer, yeah.
Counselor
We had
Clyburn,
to pass
that's-
on the short one.
Counselor Bassetti and I were wondering what you were talking about because we didn't see this.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
So
go
you
on.
you can see the existing approach there. Yeah.
Okay, so, as the planner had indicated, this isn't an application to approve of the building itself, it's permitted use, it's a drive-through only that we're dealing with. And Pamela has indicated that council might have two concerns, one is the queuing, the planning report touched on it. Google Maps has a tool to determine distance. The distance from the access on Parkview to the corner of the building, of the drive-through corner is 227 meters. And an average car length is 4.5 meters. Add a meter for spacing between cars. You get 200 divided by 5.5 meters, which would fit 35 cars in the queue. So the queue is way more than necessary. Pam had indicated that council may be concerned about the northeast area of the drive-through where it points toward Main, because it's 100 feet from Main Street. Car headlights at night might interfere with traffic, and I'd indicated we're prepared to do any filtering that is required, from a fence to mature trees, whatever is necessary.
Yeah, like bushes maybe or
Yeah,
something.
whatever,
Yeah.
whatever you feel is appropriate, it's fine with us.
Yeah. So may I, Mayor?
Go quiet.
So this sort of, this area here, this is all lawn?
The darker color area, yes.
Yeah, that's all
That's gonna be
lawn.
landscaped.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll have a landscape plan.
And how much of the parking lot are you gonna do initially so that, for the exit?
All of this will be done.
All of it?
This is all part
Okay.
of our lease with Tim Hortons.
So there's lots of room for them to get out?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a huge area. It's, I provided Pam with the pictures of the building itself, and it's not a large Tim Hortons, but it's
Very nice.
medium size, yeah. Inside it's a very
Really
nice
nice.
building. I was given the planner just gave me the three conditions from Manitoba Infrastructure. The lot grade plan and approval from highways that no water drains onto the highway is normal. When we apply for a building permit, we'll be asked to do a lot grade plan, highways will kick in, so that was expected. It's not an issue. The traffic impact study, we had one done for this area when we did Parkview 1. And it included this area as a commercial project, so I'll deal with Karen Tolles on that. I expect that she'll remember what happened 5 years ago, and I'll give her the plan.
Good.
The comment about the approach on the house on 3490 Main to the north, that's where the existing approach is, that's a different title. So it has absolutely nothing to do with this application. This application only deals with this property, but nonetheless, I was at a hearing a couple weeks ago. I indicated, well, we know we can't use that approach for access to this site.
Yeah.
MI will never permit it. It's not large enough, we'd have to get their permission to enlarge, and they're not gonna do that. So that approach is gonna be removed, and ultimately that property will be consolidated with this one, but the only access to this site is that one off of Parkview. Okay, and, yeah, those are my comments.
Any council have any questions for the applicant?
It's-
Does Councilor Patkan have any? No, none? Okay, thank you very much. Then is there anyone for the applicant?
We don't have anyone else registered that's in favor. Yeah, James, we do have Norma Elber.
And, sorry, you said none in favor?
On here enough, yeah.
Excuse me,
Sorry, just give me.
no, that's all right. So you said there was none in favor,
Correct, that's registered.
okay? Any opposed?
In opposition is Norma Elber.
Okay,
Norma Albert, 312 Evelyn. I'll leave it as opposed. I'm not sure that I'm opposed, because I'll say that it'll be closer for my resident colleagues and I to go to socialize for coffee after a meeting, so. However, again, the traffic thing does concern me. So, and it is disappointing that the first restaurants or the first commercial development that we're having coming into these areas are a couple of fast food places. So that's a little disappointing. Certainly, the Tim's locations have been notorious for the drive-throughs backing up onto the roadways, particularly during that rush hour time. So it's good to hear that there's a large number of queues, but it still is a concern. And I guess they've done a wonderful job of doing the Main Street alteration there, and it's, I think, about 8 lanes now at this point in both directions. However, what I see, since I live nearby there, is that if someone is coming on the perimeter and wishes to go to that Tim's, they come off the ramp. If they're heading westbound, they come off the ramp onto Main Street North, and they immediately fly like a hot dog across 4 lanes of traffic to get into the turning thing to get into
I'll just let you know I
Point.
already do that.
Yeah, so eventually.
I'm already flying that way.
Yeah, eventually, things will be happening at that intersection, so, you know, we have to be cautious with that for sure. But, and I guess back to my preface, earlier comment about the format of the report, Mr. Eno said that today, he said that Highways sort of came in on this and wanted some conditions, but I didn't see in the document any indication that this had been circulated to anyone, including Highways. So again, I think if there's a new format being used for the document, it's not where it needs to be yet. There's missing information there.
Can I ask a question? To the planner, do we normally have a large package for conditional uses to go to each agency? No. It's
No,
only
it's-
for the subdivisions, right?
Subdivision rezonings were required to, so
Yeah.
for variances and conditional uses, we use our discretion if something's close to an agency that might have issues.
So Highways just found out about this on their own? Because in previous
Circulate.
documents that would come out to the public for a planning, a
Highways
hearing.
isn't always on time.
No, but the package would always show us where the documents had been circulated and if responses had come back. Now there's no indication that they've gone anywhere in this new format.
Council Bichette?
But let's remember, this is for the drive-through, it's not,
Yeah,
we've already
yeah,
zoned this
yeah, yeah,
property as
yeah.
commercial, or
Yeah.
retail, whatever it is. So the traffic study has, as the applicant already said, there was 5 years ago when they did this.
It all went up
It
to
was
the
already all
agencies.
done, so Highways is aware of what is coming up when the applications do
Yeah.
go through.
Can you have the planner
Just,
speak?
I just wanted to clarify, so.
Just on the format?
Cool.
Yeah, I think we may be confused with the subdivision reports, which
Yeah.
have highlighted of everyone that is
Yes.
circulated, whether we get comments or not. But that's a bit off track, as Councilor Bichetti just noted. The purpose today is to talk about
I
the
found
drive.
they're
And
also on
highways,
conditional
normally, sometimes they
uses.
are late with their reports.
Oh, and this one it
Yeah.
was.
Many times they're late with
Yeah.
reports,
Yeah.
so. And sometimes we get their reports after the application's been approved, so. You know, we can't regulate them, but they have given us their.
Package previously put out to us, me, Joe Public, would say that it got circulated there, and then it would say Highways had no comment, and Mr. Eno would update it. This now doesn't say that it ever went anywhere.
But this is a conditional use, so it's up to, this is a conditional use?
Yes,
but
and
not
on
even-
previous conditional uses, they have also
Can you
been
give me an
sent out.
example?
If I went back to my computer, I could. I will find one and send it to you, because I did today, yes.
Okay.
Anything else?
And I don't know who to ask in the planning, because I don't know who wrote the report. Thank you.
I'll just, Mrs. Albrecht, if you come see me later, I'll show you one on a previous one where there's nothing. there's, okay, you
Okay.
fine, you
Let's
can
go.
do that,
So-
but
Let's
I'm
go
just
after
saying
the
that,
fact.
under the, I'm looking at a conditional use for a home business right now. There's no documents.
Yeah, let's just talk about that.
Okay, we'll move on. Go ahead, anyone else?
In opposition is Marianne Novelot.
I've got my son here, yes.
So has he been registered, or?
Yes, he has.
Okay. I'm gonna ask the
State
planner.
name and address.
So Peter Narot, 441 Addis Avenue. I know that this is strictly regarding a drive-through, and the traffic impact study was done 5 years ago. There's been considerable growth in this area in the past 5 years. I've seen where Tim Hortons drive-throughs have come in. It's a traffic disaster. All hours of the day, whether I drive by at 5 o'clock in the morning by Tim Hortons or 8, 9, whatever the case may be. I'm not opposed to the Tim Hortons being there. I think just like the other Tim Hortons on Main Street that doesn't have a drive-through, they can operate and be financially successful. But I am just really worried, and like was stated earlier, when people are coming off that and how they zip across Main Street, I'm just worried about the risk of traffic accidents and
You should be worried about my safety when I come to council meetings then. Because
yeah,
I've
but
gotta
can you
come that way.
imagine when people are fixated on getting their Tims, right? They're quite the different driver.
But
that-
you know that Tim's are not open 24/7, right?
Well, we don't
No,
know
the
this
one on Main Street here closes at 9 o'clock, they kick you out.
yeah. I don't know about
So
the hours.
I don't know that this is open 24/7.
I don't know. Would it be open?
No,
24/7?
we'll,
Yeah,
he'll
yeah.
answer that afterwards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
So
I'm
why
just
not?
concerned with the volume of traffic and the higher risk for, unless there would be maybe a set of lights or something put.
There is lights.
There are lights
Main and
there.
Parkview, there is lights.
So if there was no drive-through, you'd be okay with it?
Yeah,
That doesn't make sense to me.
because the volume of traffic going through a drive-through, that's what my big concern is.
Councilor
I
Bichetti.
just want to clarify that when this did come for rezoning, and I'm going to say it again, I said it previously, for retail or commercial, whatever we wanted to call it, there was, as the applicant stated, there was an impact, traffic impact study done for the residential and commercial areas with hypotheticals, I guess, but I guess they're going to go with, when he comes back, maybe I'll ask him, you know, at what extent they do that to. But it was all done, and that's how that intersection was enlarged with the 2 turn lanes, you know, going in towards
Yeah,
Parkview,
yeah.
not just one. So there was big changes done. I understand what you mean by people coming off the perimeter and shooting over, but that happens,
And
you know.
people consistently, sorry to interrupt, continue to go through on the red lights. I see it every day that I drive by to work across the street, right? Thank goodness the RCMP has been sitting there and catching the speeders, but people are speeding by there also, right? So, like, I don't know why there has to be a drive-through. It can probably operate as a Tim Hortons without a drive-through. And at some point in the future, maybe review based on traffic and everything else for a drive-through, but.
So you're basically opposed because.
It's
of
a
the traffic-
drive-through.
It's a drive-through and the
yeah.
traffic that it brings. That's
Yeah,
what you're opposed to.
yeah.
Okay. So the applicant will answer that question and then he comes back up. Thank you. Anyone else?
For information is Eleanor Lee.
Eleanor Link, 1045 Toshack Road. Now, we're talking about the site for the Tim Hortons, which is 16.4 acres in size, according to the chart here. I am wondering if the Tim Hortons and the drive-through that's proposed here is going to use all of that acreage, and is it planned that the Tim Hortons will use only a portion and this area will be subdivided further? That was the first. I noticed that the name Tim Hortons was supplied to the building on the site plan, but the name Tim Hortons does not appear in the larger rendering of the building, nor is it used in the letter of intent. So I'm wondering, has Tim Hortons approved this location for their franchise, and has a buyer for the franchise been identified?
We're just looking at the drive-through.
Excuse me, we're just looking at the drive-through, so obviously it's been approved already.
It's allowed on that property.
Yeah.
It's the drive-through only that we're discussing. That's what's on the application as it's presented
So
to us.
I can't ask whether or not there will be further subdivision?
Well, no, because we don't have the answer for that, because all we're discussing tonight is the drive-through.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
That's all we have the same
but,
package you do.
Yes, but I think it's fair to ask whether Tim Hortons has approved this location for their franchise.
Actually, we zone the property, it's up to, I guess, the builder and the developers to decide on what building is going there. We're told it's a Tim Hortons.
Well, let's let the applicant,
No,
answer
I'm
that
just-
question, but I mean,
Right now, we're just discussing the drive-through.
yeah, I mean, we wouldn't be getting building renderings from Tim Hortons if they hadn't approved it, franchise.
The name's been removed from that drawing. the
Okay,
rendering.
well, you know what, we'll ask the applicant that
Okay,
question.
thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Sorry. Do you have any more questions?
Okay.
No, that's it? Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you.
Lastly, for information, is Jerry Belinky.
Okay.
Jerry Belinky, 354 Garden View Drive. I'm against it. I was against the subdivision or the approval of it because of the access onto Main Street. I'm really concerned about the access going onto Main Street. We didn't have the replies from Manitoba Highways at the first hearing, but what really concerns me is that making assumptions that the traffic that comes in is coming in from the north, is going in and getting a coffee and then is going south. But we also know that people are coming from the south and they're going to turn in and get coffees and going to drive to the north, right in the busy time of the day, the morning traffic, which is horrendous. The Tim Hortons on Main Street there, where the Shoppers is, they restrict access turning right or turning north between certain hours. Okay, and the reason for that is because there's a lot of problems because cars are coming in, there's heavy traffic, and people are going to go where they're going to go. So I think this is wrong. I think we're going to have accidents, and I don't think that the municipality should. I know it's a good concept to have a drive-through with the Tim Hortons, but you're going to have more traffic, and it's going to be faster. When you have to park your car and get out of your car and get in and buy a coffee, stand in line and come out and wait for the order to be prepared is a lot longer than driving in and getting out the window and you turn around. So you're going to have lots of it's going to be faster, and we're going to have more cars in and out. And I think this is wrong. We have lots of traffic. The study done 5 years ago, we've had, I don't know, probably 2,000 cars approved in different subdivisions since then. That's a lot of traffic on Main Street. I could see this drive-through going through as long as the access wasn't from Main Street.
Not allowed on Main Street.
I'm sorry?
It's not allowed on Main Street to access. MTI has
access is
already
on
said that
Parkview.
there's no access to Main Street.
Well, at the last approval, it was on Main Street. That's
No, we just finished, it just went through it, as the planner stated, there's no access to Main Street.
Okay,
It's all on
if-
Parkview
Parkview
at a
point
controlled
You
intersection.
have to go onto Parkview, and
With
then you go
turn
into the
lanes
Tims,
and a
and then you
controlled
come out
intersection.
onto
Okay,
Parkview,
my
and
mistake.
you've got a signal light
I'm
there.
really, adamant against it having directly coming onto Main Street. This is
No,
what I
not Main
thought
Street.
everybody was talking about, Main Street.
No.
Another problem I have with it, and I spoke about it the last time, was the garbage. And the applicant gave me a measurement of how the far distance it was to the creek. That's fine, if the wind only blows for so long, like for so many feet. The wind blows like crazy. So what I'm saying is, and I've noticed this at different drive-throughs, people, when they in a drive-through, they not only wait for their product, and they don't only come in for a coffee, they also come from another restaurant and they're eating and they throw the stuff out the window. People are like that. So don't want to see all this stuff in the creek, because seeing it's a distance away, the wind will blow it. I mean, my God, we have 70-mile-an-hour winds here, and I mean, it blows everything across the street. It blows. So those are my concerns. So I'm against it for those reasons. I'm more against I was for the access onto Main Street. But that, I would say okay, but I really would like to know what they would do to screen the creek from the garbage. Because, do we have to hire somebody to do this? That's our creek, that's our resource.
But we're only here for the drive-through.
That's what I'm talking about. People in the drive-through throw garbage out the window. Okay, I've seen it, Kleenex, anything, and that stuff blows. So, you understand what I'm saying? The drive-through, the traffic is faster, in and out is faster, everything's faster. And whether they're using Parkdale or whatever, I can't say anything about that because I never thought about that. Right? I thought the access was there, so to be truthful. But I still am concerned. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others?
No one else has been registered.
No one else been registered?
You can register, I think she wants to register.
So I just, might have to register with Pam first.
Oh.
Just give her
Just
your
say
name and address.
And
she'll
your
put it.
address.
I'm sorry.
No, she still has to register.
Okay, just your name and your address. That's it.
Yeah, just let's give name and address.
I think it's 700 114. Why don't they just put a garbage?
What's your name?
What's your
Oh, Aria. Why don't they just put a garbage?
Your last name,
Your
please?
last name.
Oh, Correa.
3150 Pipeline Road.
Why don't
Okay.
they just put a garbage in the drive-thru?
They do have one. They'll have a garbage area.
Gloria, would you be for or against Tim Hortons?
I'll be for it.
Yeah. Thank you, Gloria.
Thanks, Aria.
Anyone else? No? Okay. Can I have
Thanks,
the
Aria.
Can I have the applicant come forward, please? Just maybe you can address some of the concerns that were brought
I'll
up.
try to remember some of them. The traffic impact study, so the first one we did in Parkview 1 was probably dated
Excuse
2000
me,
and...
just wait. Excuse me, just, I'm gonna ask you that in the back there. Comments to yourself, please. Sorry.
It's probably dated around 2020, and traffic impact studies, if your council's ever seen one, go in 5-year stages. So they project traffic in 2020, 25, 30, 35, some of them go up to 2040. And so this one looks at what the traffic count is gonna be from a field right now to full build-out. Full build-out meaning all the buildings are in, commercial, multifamily, whatever we're gonna do. And they usually predict, Highways approves of the traffic impact study, and they can take a year to do that. So they go over it very intensively. And if they think some further signals, stop signs, turn lanes, anything like that are required, they deal with that. So they give us conditions if there are any. One gentleman also brought up the fact, he thought that, well, why do we need a drive-through? Well, the customer base for a drive-through Tim Hortons is probably double or triple a non-drive-through Tim Hortons. So it's pretty important to Tim Hortons to have this type of a building. Tim Hortons, of course, has approved all of this. We've been dealing with them this has been going on for 2.5 years right now. So we're at the end stage of the development. And I don't know, was there any other questions that anybody had?
Garbage.
Oh, garbage, well, first of all, Tim Hortons is going to be confined to that site, the site on the plan that you have. And whether we may fence off the entire site for them, we haven't really discussed that. It's not in the negotiations yet, but we may want to do that anyway. So we may put up a big wood fence right around the whole site. But if we didn't, it is quite a bit away from the creek. So, and there more likely will be more buildings going up in the north side and the west side. That the concern is that somebody's going to drop paper and it's going to blow into the creek. Well, it's quite a ways away, and it's probably going to be blocked. And there are gonna be garbage bins, Tim Hortons is gonna have them, there is a garbage area. So for now, we're not doing anything about that because it's too far away. If we build after this, we're gonna be building more buildings for commercial, multifamily, whatever is permitted. And we deal with that at the time, like Red River
Yeah.
Planning District on building permits will tell us lighting, landscaping, garbage, everything. All taken care of by them, that's their job.
Thank you.
I just have one question. So you mentioned that the traffic study was done in 2020 and they do it in 5-year increments?
Yes.
So does that mean they come back every 5
No,
years?
no, they have a tool, I don't know what it is, that way
Okay.
they can predict, what the traffic flow is gonna be, depending on, they predict how many, individuals are gonna be using this site, number of cars going in, number of cars going out over a 5-year period. I'm not sure what it is, but your council has the traffic impact study from Parkview 1. It's in your file.
Okay.
So you could look at that and it can tell you what I'm gonna be dealing with Karen Tolles on. And that same study, if she says it's too old or you should get an update on it, then we get an update. So it's her decision.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions? No? Okay. So now I'll close the public hearing. Be it resolved that the council do hereby close the public hearing and resume the regular meeting of council. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councilor Kleiber moves, Councilor Bichetti seconds it. Any comments, questions?
Nope.
Hearing none, can call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. Now we'll go to resolution 5.5.3, resolution for conditional use, CU 2824, Main Street and Parkview Drive. Whereas applicant has applied for conditional use 2824 to permit a drive-through facility as part of a restaurant on the subject property located on an unaddressed lot on Main Street and Parkview Point Drive, identified as roll 32334 in the commercial highway zone. And whereas under provisions of the Planning Act, a public hearing has been held to hear representation for and or against the conditional use application. Now therefore be it resolved that the rural municipality of West St. Paul approves conditional use 2824 under the following conditions. This conditional use is limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacements, or additions would require a new approval. Applicant owner obtains all required permits from the Red River Planning District and the municipality if required. Applicant owner enters into a development agreement with the municipality to address but not limited to lot grading, parking, internal traffic flow, access, landscaping, including buffering and design standards, service connections, waste removal, and any applicable fees. 4, applicant owner provides confirmation in writing that Manitoba Regional Technical Services engineer that sufficient information has been provided to determine if drainage from the site may adversely affect the provincial highway drainage system. Applicant owner provides preliminary traffic projections. Applicant may be required to provide a traffic impact study. Applicant owner obtain a permit for the approval of existing access on Provincial Truck Highway 9 and a new access onto Parkview Point Drive. The approval of the conditional use will expire and cease to have any effect if it is not acted upon within 12 months of the date of the decision. A board, council, or planning commission may extend the deadline under subsection 110-1 for an additional period no longer than 12 months if an application is received before the initial date, or for a second period of no more than 12 months if an application is received before the expiry of the first extension. Could I have a mover, please?
I'll move.
Councilor Bichetti moves. Can I have a
Second.
seconder? Councilor Campbell seconds it. Any comments, questions?
I have some comments.
Councilor Kleiber?
I'm gonna address the traffic issue. Right now, everybody is swinging off of the perimeter, going left if they live in Parkview Point, if they live in Meadowlands. That's the way they have to come off the perimeter. I come off there constantly. I go to Dairy Queen, I go to Esso, I go to a number of different places on Capitalist. I swing left, I've never had a problem. There's a left access sit and wait there for the light, and I go in. I've never had a problem. And I don't, if it was a problem, then it's something the residents of Meadowlands should bring to our attention, but they haven't. They're fine. I've never had a problem there. As far as the garbage, I'm not concerned about that either. This is a reputable company. They're gonna take care of those things. The drive-through is more than adequate as far as how many cars can go in and out. I've seen Tim Hortons on La Jamodier, and when you come off the perimeter by Ray's Bistro, way smaller, and they're putting through 20 cars through there. It's all enclosed into the parking lot, just like this one, and then you have to swing back out and onto La Jamodier by way of light. It's exactly what this is doing. It's done over and over and over again. I think Tim Hortons has done their homework, and I'm fully supporting this application.
Anyone else? Any other comments? Councilor Pactan?
Yeah, thank you. I will be supporting this application. I think this is a good development, and the applicant has much more queuing spaces than what's required in our bylaws. And at some point, when they enter into a development agreement with the RM, I will be asking for that DA to come forward to council for a quick look to make sure that council's okay with it. But I want to congratulate the applicants and their team for bringing this development to West St. Paul.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. All right. Now we go down to 5.6. Okay. Public hearing, conditional use 3224. Be it resolved that this meeting of council recess for the purpose of public hearing pursuant to section 105 of the Planning Act. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councilor Kleiber moves. Can I have a seconder, please? Councilor Bichetti seconds it. Any comments, questions? Can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. I'll pass it over to the planner to do his presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. As you noted, this is conditional use number 32 of 2024. It's for a property located at the address of 3160 Main Street, similar to the last one, also to allow for a drive-through facility. And specifically, similar to the last one, also the CH Commercial Highway Zone lists drive-through facilities, and this is in relation to another fast food restaurant. Once again, the restaurant is a permitted use. We're just dealing with the drive-through, just like the last application. So here's the subject property. You can see that it does have a Main Street address. However, access is actually from Windsor Way. So just to make that point there. The applicant's going to put up about a 4,200 square foot building. There is a site plan that they've provided showing the restaurant and the drive-through. Just as I said the last time, the zoning bylaw requires 5 queuing spaces or stacking spaces for vehicles within the drive-through, and they're providing 13. In addition to that, the applicant has also noted that they are more than exceeding the parking spaces for the restaurant portion, providing about 49, and the site plan that they've shown there shows access coming from Windsor Way and then circling through the drive-through, and then would be going back out to the controlled intersection, I presume at Main Street. Should council wish to approve this, there's just 3 conditions. The first 2 are the standards, ones they always see, that the conditional use is limited to what's being presented. Any changes would have to come back to council, and that the applicant obtains all required permits from our office as well as the municipality. And the third one from the municipality is that the applicant owner enter into a development agreement with the, to address issues but not limited to lot grading, landscaping, and design standards. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Council, have any questions to the planner?
I have a
Councilor
question
Pactan?
for the planner. Yes, Mr. Planner. Just on the detailed site plan, or this is the draft site plan, I saw noted there that there's a gravel area. Can you speak to that? Is there a gravel area part of the application?
It's in front of the building,
Oh, to the west?
to the east.
To the north, I think.
To the north, sorry.
Just
We're all completely disoriented.
I think it's the old service road.
I believe you're right. Is that what we're talking about? I'm not exactly sure which area you're talking about.
okay. Well, I can ask the applicant.
That
Maybe
area?
they can speak to it on.
Oh, it looks like maybe just a remnant part of the air photo of the old parcel. So it's all part of the project, but I believe the area you're talking about on the site plan shows some parking spaces.
Yes, and I just wanted to know that it's going to be paved.
I believe that have to meet municipal standards for paving. Thank you, sir.
Okay, we can let the applicant. Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions of the planner? Can the applicant come forward, please?
Is the applicant here?
We have the applicant on Zoom.
Oh,
That's the one that
We
was.
have Zara also Hobby with us. She's from out of province attending virtually.
Oh,
okay.
we have a gentleman here in the front. We have two.
Good evening,
Okay.
sorry,
Sorry, Zara,
Yes.
go ahead.
Just hold on a
thank you,
minute.
good
Oh,
evening,
just-
I am the urban
Apologize.
planner,
Zara,
Wait.
just
yeah,
one
no
moment.
worries.
Okay, so
Oh, okay.
are you with this?
Yes.
Yes? So are you gonna be speaking too?
If you need me to.
Maybe just come up and just,
They want her to go first, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna have Zara go first, and then your name is?
Etienne Gosweiler.
Okay, Etienne will go second. Okay.
go ahead.
Zara, we're ready.
Perfect. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for hearing our application today. I'm Zara Altakui, an urban planner with Arcadis, here representing McDonald's in regard to a proposal for a conditional use permit to allow for a drive-through. As described by the planner, we are proposing the inclusion of a dual-lane drive-through at a highway commercial zoned site. That currently does not permit a drive-through under its current regulations. We are open to hearing your thoughts. We have no issues with the conditions that were noted, and we are happy to answer any questions.
Okay, does council have any questions for the applicant? No? None? Does council have?
Just a quick question. Can you address the question I had asked the planner? It shows a gravel area within your site plan. Is that area going to be gravelled or paved?
Yes, we would be paving the lot, as per, city regulations.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? So, okay, now you're part of this too, or?
I'm here to answer questions.
Etienne, go ahead.
Go.
Do you want to say anything about the application?
Sorry, is that a question for me?
No.
No, there's.
Etienne's here.
Maybe explain to her who you are, just so she knows you're here also.
Yeah, Zara, I'm here in person. It's Etienne Gosweiler. So I work with McDonald's, and Zara is on our planning team.
Okay.
And so I was just saying here to answer questions. I know more about site specifics, but they would be responsible for the application. I just wanted to say, like, we're always very proud to enter a community and bring, we bring millions of dollars of investment specifically to the community. Each location itself also brings 80+ employees that are all local as well. And then operators are also proud participants in the Ronald McDonald charity and usually invest in the community in that way as well. So just a little bit of a blurb of what we do, and we do care. Sometimes communities sort of hear the big banner and maybe a little hesitant, but it's community operated, and we do care about what we do. And even the build out will be a beautiful transition from what it currently is, because the gravel you see there is just what's left over. It's a bit of a dumping ground. Happy to answer any questions about the build out and how we do things and all that. Thanks.
So the whole area is paved then? Okay.
Yeah, so on our typical construction is our drive-through is usually actually concrete, just because of the amount of wear.
Yeah.
So usually it's concrete from the entrance to the exit. It'll be shown on the site plan in more detail. Everything else that's kind of speckled would be either heavy-duty or light-duty asphalt, and
Okay.
same with parking spots, and then obviously landscaping and all that around the perimeter as needed and as the development authority would guide us.
Does council have any questions for the applicant at the table? I don't know, none?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so on the, thank you for clarifying the pavement of the parking lot. My question is surrounding the parking lot as well. I see that it says painted lines on either side. I guess those are to demarcate certain areas of the parking lot. Are those elevated structures, or is that just flush with the ground?
Are you referring to the areas by the parking spots?
Yes.
Yeah, so those would not be elevated. Those would be painted lines to allow for better traffic flow. But of course, we can, any concerns regarding curving or grading or anything of the sort would be sorted through the development permit process if the municipality had requested an update to that.
Okay.
Can you maybe just share with me what your maintenance schedule is if once the lines are faded to the extent that they require maintenance? What is the proponent's schedule in terms of the illumination?
Yeah, so we do keep maintenance of painted lines, and just the site layout is typically maintained regularly. And I can also allow Alec to speak to that, who's also a McDonald's representative.
Hello there. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Hi everyone. My name's Alec Dell. I'm the regional construction manager for McDonald's. I can say that our franchisees do have a rigorous maintenance program, and the line painting usually occurs about every 2 years or so. And if the line does fade earlier, then we ask that they do fix the paint immediately.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
No.
No, Council? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. We'll ask for the applicants now for opposed to come forward.
Also in favor, we have John Powell.
So in favor, yes, Don Powell?
Yeah.
Did you want to speak?
No, thanks.
Okay.
In support is Richard Winowski. Thank you.
Did you want to speak?
Thanks.
And we have received a number of letters of support that were provided to council earlier. We have received from Jeff Johnner from Windsor Plywood, Jazz Kalar from Riverdale West Developers, Jason Jaquette from Randall Homes, and Newreed Carr from GS Homes as well.
Okay. Thank you. Is that it for in favor?
Yes. In opposition is Norma Elber.
Come forward.
Norma Albert, 312 Evelyn.
Yep.
Again, I'll say that I'm still against, but having worked my career in healthcare, I'm torn. So McDonald's is certainly a major multinational, and I know that it does bring jobs in, but I think a lot of those jobs will be good for students, and they're rather low-paying part-time, but it provides those at least. The Main Street reconstruction, again, has been done quite well there, but I am concerned about when they exit out westward onto Windsor Way and then come back and attempt, I'm not sure if the median ends right there, or again, that there'll be some traffic turmoil coming and going out of Windsor Way and back onto Meadowlands, particularly if they're heading out to Main Street. The chaos will be less than the previous one application because it is south of the perimeter highway, so we're not going to see that huge flow of traffic trying to cut off the north and southbound lanes. So that part will be better. So I've sort of reviewed, because McDonald's is, of course, much, much larger, there's some corporate type documentation that's available in the public, and I've reviewed some of those. And certainly based on that, I think what this does confirm for me, and I'm sure for others, is that we do indeed have sufficient population density to support this commercial development. So as we have said in West St. Paul, the increase in the population has been at a rate that is much ahead of.
Point of order.
It's disappointing that the council never wants to hear the full story of what the community sees as what's coming
Actually,
and going.
no, it's that we're regulated to speaking about what's on the application.
Yeah.
And the application is the drive-through. The land is already zoned for
Yep.
the restaurant.
Yep.
So we're allowed to speak in the public hearing about what is in the package.
And
So
when-
it's not really a place to
When does,
discuss the whole traffic study. It's a place to discuss the drive-through, and that's what we're here to discuss. And I'm sure you're
so
fully
the
aware.
traffic study is not related to the drive-through?
If
What's
there was
driving
more-
through?
But if there was more problems, MTI would ask for a new traffic study as we talked about in the previous one.
So the challenge comes within the whole planning process, that everything becomes compartmentalized. So the traffic study becomes this part of the field, but we're not allowed to talk about the others.
No,
So
it's
the
this-
part of the traffic study, if I may
Mr. Mayor,
finish,
we're talking about but sorry, I'm sorry.
It's traffic
When we
volume
rezoned
in
this
a
property,
drive-through.
we went through the traffic study to rezone the property. They look at full build-out of the entire property. That's where they do their regulations. We're here to speak about the drive-through. It's not a place to come up and speak about, council doesn't care about this, we're speaking about the drive-through. And I think we should keep it at that, because it does go way off topic.
well, then I guess I'll just end with perhaps, in the parking lot, there'll be adequate parking, and perhaps when people park, they'll look across and see the burger place, and they'll be able to go and get a burger at the burger place, which doesn't have parking. So, thank you, and again, it is disappointing that council does not wish to listen to what the community has to say.
We
Thank
did
you
when we
very
rezoned,
much.
when we rezoned the property, we did listen to the community. It's a point of order, but I get the rebuttal, the comments on it, so people aren't supposed to be coming up here, saying that council does not care. That's not what we're here for. And I think we are listening, and I think it has to be respectful on both sides.
No, I agree.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
In opposition is Marianne Norrod.
My son will speak for me.
So has he been registered?
The traffic now is bad.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. Peter Narot. Calm down. 441 Addis Avenue. I know if the drive-through doesn't go through, then that restaurant will not be built there. So I'm opposed to the drive-through. The reason why I'm opposed, it's already on Windsor Way, when cars are coming southbound, their headlights shine right into the house. Yeah, I could put blinds on all the windows so I don't get any lights coming in. But the thing is, when you put a drive-through in there, and the question would be to the chair, to the applicant, if this is going to be a 24-hour operation or not. I don't know. But there's going to be a lot of traffic then with those headlights coming and shining into the house, so with that light pollution. There's already a slew of traffic on Meadowlands, and at some point I'll come back to council to put speed bumps, but there's a slew of traffic and people racing down Meadowlands all the time. And so I know by having a drive-through there, it's really going to increase traffic in that area, noise pollution. And also the one thing that I have concern, and I know that it's been approved for a restaurant, but one thing I really, and maybe this is just me personally, detest, is the smell that comes out of McDonald's. And with the north winds, that blows into the residential side. I know it's not a pleasant smell. That's all I have to say. I don't like that. But I know we're not here to debate, it's the drive-through, right? But I do know if the drive-through doesn't go there, the restaurant won't go there. And so on that purpose, or for that reason, I'm opposed to, because of that. So, and I'll end my statement there. But, you know, we can't move our house to the side or anywhere, you know, but it's just unfortunate that where Windsor Way has been built, all that traffic, the lights come straight into our kitchen and dining room and into the house. So, thank you.
Thank you.
In opposition is Georgina Chin.
We were both gonna speak. You-
No. We're just opposed to it. You're just opposed to it? Okay.
Yes.
And, sir, you're Alvin Chin?
This
Yeah.
is Alvin, I'm
Yes,
Georgina.
thank you. No one else registered against. For information is Eleanor Link.
Okay.
No, I have nothing more to say.
Okay.
And lastly, Jerry Belinkie for information.
I want to change mine to support.
You want to change yours? Okay.
That's all.
Okay. Council, nobody else then? Okay, so then I'll close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
the applicant?
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
the app,
Yes.
it's a rebuttal?
Yes. Can the applicant come forward and do a rebuttal to address some of the questions that were raised?
Sorry, it's just a bit muffled. Did you request a rebuttal?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. And yes, thank you for expressing your concerns about the potential development here. I just want to note that this application is mainly focused on, or it is focused on the approval of a drive-through. As for the franchise concerns or the restaurant concerns, that is originally, or is currently approved under this zone. So in terms of the actual drive-through comments, I would like to note that anything to do with traffic or any concerns with traffic would be addressed under the development permit. And of course, if there were traffic issues, we would be directly handling that with the planners and the traffic department. As well as parking, we are in abundance of parking. I believe the required was 17 and we have 49. And as for, as well, when it comes to traffic, we are also in abundance of queuing spaces. So that would also reduce the issues concerning the traffic and the traffic congestion on site. And I believe that was most of the comments that we received. If there was anything else, please advise, and I can definitely rebut to that as well.
Councilor Campbell?
My one comment would be, would you guys look at doing anything to, because there is at least one house that's directly on the exit path that the gentleman did speak about, either putting up trees or something to filter the headlights from, you know, hindering the residents that have lived there for a long time. That would be my one concern and the one thing that I would like to see.
Yeah, so we have no issues with screening and landscaping, proper landscaping. That would also be done through the landscaping plan, and we would make sure that would meet all municipal standards and be able to, I guess, align with the municipality's standards and expectations.
Okay, so the one issue that you guys would have to work through is this, it wouldn't be on your property, it would, you know, it's coming southbound out of Windsor Way, and that house is directly south of that street, so you guys would have to work with the developer.
That's what I'm thinking.
And be able to, you know, either designate there's gonna be trees here or something, because it's not gonna be property that you guys would own. But it is property that is affected by what is going on by your location.
I think, Mayor, if I may, this has to go back to the developer for that complaint, because there's gonna be more than just McDonald's in this area. There's gonna be a number of different properties that are gonna be coming out of there, and I understand the concern, because people know where I live. So, I mean, I had to do mitigation on my own property because of, a large traffic shelter. I won't get into it, but this goes back to the developer, and the developer has made this roadway this way. And I think we have to ask the developer to create some kind of shelter on that side where the Windsor Way is. And so that it's not, I mean, valid point, I mean, anybody that's gonna come out of this area, and there are other people coming out of this area, are always gonna hit that. So maybe we go back to the developer and say, you know, we need to mitigate this.
I agree.
Yeah.
If you say you're going back.
It's too late, you can't, now you can't talk because it's rebuttal now.
Take rebuttal in
No,
your
that's-
suggestion.
Okay, that's right.
Mr. Mayor, I can add, for buffering, there is a requirement, for the Meadowlands Commercial Subdivision to have, a fence along the residential properties there on Addis.
Okay.
So that fence is in place as well as trees, along the fence line. I believe they're roughly about every 15 feet.
You're gonna already buffer.
Yeah,
It's
and then,
already done.
yeah, and then additional trees, all the way along Meadowlands Drive as well.
Okay, good, that's excellent.
And the median as well.
Okay.
Okay, any more questions for?
If you had any.
No, I just wanted to clarify that Windsor intersection with Meadowlands is the one you were talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just as a point of information, it's
No,
supposed to
sorry,
be 24
sorry,
hours.
sorry.
Point of
No,
information.
sorry.
If you wanna add, it was a question he asked.
Oh, wait.
The rebuttal was the store hours.
Sorry, I missed that question. I don't know offhand. It's usually determined by the amount of sales projections and volume, so we can find out and get back to you on that. And I'll maybe check with, if Alec is still online, he might have a better pulse on that.
How many McDonald's are normally open 24/7?
I can jump in. I mean, most restaurants do open up 24/7, but like Etienne said, sometimes if the sales projections are a bit low, they won't start off as 24/7. So I would say there's probably about a 75% chance that this would open up as a 24/7.
Okay.
And staffing sometimes as well.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So now we'll close the public hearing. Be it resolved that council do hereby close the public hearing and resume the regular meeting of council. Can I have a mover, please? Councilor Bichetti moves. Councilor Clyburn seconds it. Any comments, favors? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. So now we go to the resolution of conditional use, 3224, 5.6.3. Whereas the application has applied for conditional use 32-24 to permit a drive-through facility as part of a restaurant at 3160 Main Street in the commercial highway zone, and whereas under the provisions of the Planning Act, a public hearing has been held to hear representation for and or against the conditional use application. Now therefore be it resolved that the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul approve conditional use 32-24 under the following conditions. This conditional use is limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacements, or additions would require a new approval. Applicant owner obtains all required permits from the Red River Planning District and the municipality if required, and applicant owner enter into supplemental development agreement with the municipality to address, but not limited to, lot grading, landscaping, including buffering and design standards. The approval of a conditional use will expire and cease to have any effect if it is not acted upon within 12 months of the date of the decision. A board, council, or planning commission may extend the deadline under section 110-1 for an additional period of no longer than 12 months if an application is received before initial deadline, and for a second period of no more than 12 months if the application is received before the expiry of the first extension. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councilor Bichetti moves, Councilor Clyburn seconds it. Any comments, questions?
I'll speak to it.
Okay, go ahead, Councilor Pactan.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I want to say that I'll be supporting this application. I think that the applicant has exceeded the requirements for the drive-through queuing as well as for the parking spaces, and I appreciate the clarification to my questions on the gravel as well as the maintenance of the parking lot lines. And just want to thank the McDonald's team for bringing this development to West St. Paul. I think this is a very powerful commercial corner, and to anchor it with the McDonald's, which is an extremely successful commercial brand, is a very good move, and I think will serve be a gateway to future commercial development. And I remember on the campaign trail a couple of years ago, residents were saying they want to see development happening here, and this will be a great place, a great family destination, and for people traveling on Main Street and on the perimeter, I think it'll be a solid business case all around, and I want to congratulate the team that's presented here today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can I call, anyone have comments? Can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, carried.
Welcome to West St. Paul.
Okay, so, yep. We'll take a quick break. Okay, now we're down to 7.1, Committee of the Whole meeting, resolution. Be it resolved that the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting held on October 8th, 2024 be approved. Could I have a mover, please? Councilor Kleiber moves, seconder, Councilor Campbell seconds it. Any comments or questions?
Nope.
Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. We go down to 7.2, regular planning meeting on October 10th. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular planning meeting of council held on October 10th, 2024 be approved. Could I have a mover, please? Council Campbell moves. Can I have a seconder? Council Bichetti seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. Now we're down to 8.1, 9 PM, Megan Main, Rural Animal Management Services, as a delegation.
If you, Mr. Mayor, do you want to finish the rest of it, just because on the thing it says 9 o'clock, so in case there's
Well,
somebody.
it's in line here, I just want to bring her up, she's already shown. Okay, go ahead. Tell me, is Mike still on?
He's just off. I've just asked if he's left the meeting or if he's just having difficulties. He's lost internet momentarily, but he will be coming back.
Okay. So thank you for coming forward. We had some questions about you. I'm going to just pass it to council, see if they have any. Council Bichetti, go ahead.
Watch your meeting when you guys discussed about this.
Okay, good.
I'm prepared.
Okay, good.
If you can just give us a rundown of when you get a call, what the procedure is and how you go through everything.
Yeah. So a complainant calls us, we log the complaint, and then we dispatch an officer out. Officer attends, and then I guess we close it based on what the situation is. So I know you guys were wanting us to possibly call the complainant back and say that we attended, but something that we say to them when they're on the phone with us in the first place is, like, if they have questions about what we're gonna do, we tell them, we can't give you details, but this is our procedure in this scenario. And then what we say is, we need you to give us a 48-hour grace period. That gives us enough time to attend and them enough time to implement whatever we've imposed. And if it continues after that, to call us back.
Okay. On that note, is it, now I know you have a 48-hour grace period, but is it based on the complaint? Is there a level of, I guess, severity?
Priority, yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
okay.
So the 48-hour grace period is just a generic procedure. Like, if I get a noise complaint and then a dog bite next, that one is the one we go to first. Yep.
Okay, so do some of these go beyond the 48 hours, or do you do every one within 48 hours?
In the last month or two, I lost my full-time girl and it was just me, and I'm stretched a little thin right now with the new building and such, so I was a little behind for sure. Yeah.
So I think that was the residents' concern, is that they know that some of these things happen.
Yeah.
And so now gonna say.
So the one
Go ahead.
situation I think that came up, I don't think we were delayed on.
No, but it still left them knowing if you did go or not, right? Because there's the unknown, because, yeah, they
Oh,
understand.
I see
the-
what you're saying.
They
Sorry.
understand the grace period, but,
Yeah,
you know, maybe something happened, they don't know that, right?
right.
So that's why they're looking for, why we feel that they should probably be responding and say, yes, we did,
We attended.
yeah, we attended, and,
So the other half of this, where it gets a little sticky, is neighbor disputes.
okay,
So we cause the owner has rights too,
that's right.
right? So, complainant is, well, I'm gonna call until something happens. And usually people think when they call us, we're just gonna go take their dog. We get that call every single day. And it's just not like that. We have to abide by the law as well.
Yes, I know.
So we just have to, I just try to be very careful in what information I give the caller and what information
You
I
don't
give.
necessarily have to give them a lot of information.
Well,
I mean, it's
that
kind of
meant.
hand-holding in a way, because what you wanna say is, we have attended the place, we've talked to the owners, it's on our radar. If there's any more issues, give us a call.
But we've already told them that in the initial call.
Yeah, but they wanna know you went there.
I, literally, as we talk to them, we
Yeah.
say, Kate, we're dispatching an officer out.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Counselor.
Maybe even just taking an email, and after it's been,
That's
you
what I
know,
think.
someone
So-
has attended,
Yeah.
for your information, someone has attended, we are following up, just to say that, you know,
So, yeah, and honestly, my staff does a lot of work. So our job isn't just going to a noise complaint. I have a facility of animals. I have an adoption center. So we're stretched thin is what I'm saying. And with the high rising costs of everything, I can't afford more staff. So to put more onto them again, so if you guys want additional administrative services, then I have to go back and charge more for it. So if you want it, I'll do it, but it's gonna come with a cost. I don't know what that is. I don't know. I have to look back at stats to see call numbers and so on.
Megan, let me just ask you a question
Yeah.
here. I understand you're stretched thin, and I know you do adoption because you came and got a dog for me, right? And that dog was adopted. But how much more energy you're putting into answering those calls that keep coming because you haven't?
It's the same. It's the same. Actually, it'll be doubling my calls because then I have to call your complainant back and tell them that we went.
Or they're just gonna keep calling you because.
They're gonna keep calling anyways. Because if another incident happens, they gotta call me back, right? So the calls don't stop,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna add more calls on us to start calling them back again.
Like I saw on our report last month, we had 2 calls.
Right, I service 9 different jurisdictions.
Yeah.
So you're not my only, and we're on call 24/7, 365
You need more
days.
people then.
I need more money to pay them then,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. I mean, I guess from our perspective, it's like we've had 2 calls and we're just wondering why for 2 calls
Was
we
it the
can't get.
same? Was
like-
it? Yeah, agreed. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But then I have to tell my staff, okay, so for West St. Paul, you have to do this, this, and this. But for all the other ones, you do this, and then for this one, you do this. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I need to be able to, and when I do that, that leaves room for human error. Back when I was smaller and it was just me, I could take care of it because I know I'm on top of it. But now I have staff working for me, so now I gotta manage that. So I'm dealing with 100 cases every month that I go back and review and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then if they aren't, I reopen the case and send them back.
I'm just saying, it's the same amount of energy, right?
Yeah.
Because you're saying, I'd have to expend this energy to follow up. Well, you're gonna expend the energy anyways, because they're just gonna keep calling you.
But we don't go into, but the energy isn't extended until they call us,
Yeah.
right? So it's
Yeah.
not the same energy.
You think they won't call you?
They will, but I'm saying you're adding another call onto it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It is adding more work.
how about
Well,
just
when they
the-
call back the second time,
Yeah.
that's when I'd be saying, do they not look on the computer and say, we have attended the place, we'll go again, but you know that
We
we've
don't
already
give
talked
them
to
any of that information, cause that's not their, that's privacy law. So when they call a second time, yeah, we do look at that history before we attend, but we don't tell that person, right?
Yeah, and that's why I think the frustration's coming, because people think that you're not attending. And so they get irate because they think you're not going. I've
But that's why
complained
you
about
guys are
this
here.
3 times, now nothing's happening, it seems.
But
And
that's why you guys are here to make sure I'm doing my job, right? So when I send you the reports, or if that call comes in,
Mhm.
you say, shoot me an incident report, I tell you, show you what we've done, you know we've gone.
Mhm.
And then you can say either that we've attended, or I can call them back and say, yeah, we've gone.
We don't see the reports till about a month afterwards, though.
Yeah. Right. Well,
We don't-
so-
So,
Yeah.
you know, someone
But-
phones in the beginning of October.
Yes, but you
And
can
you-
email me anytime for a report, for an incident report. That's just for billing purposes. I can send incident reports anytime.
But isn't that doubling your work, what you just finished saying?
No, pulling an incident report is cut and then send an email.
Okay.
And if you're my client, if you wanna know that I'm doing my job, I wanna show you.
Okay. So what we would do is we would contact the CAO, right, and the CAO would email you.
Yeah.
We wouldn't directly contact you.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Okay.
How about just?
And then,
And that-
in fairness, I
just-
have been reaching out to Megan on a couple of these issues lately.
Yeah,
She's
and
been very
just-
responsive.
If it makes you feel better, this is a regular occurrence with my other municipalities too. That they ask me for incident reports, hey, I got a call from this guy, what's going on? And then I shoot an update.
How about just a little bit of maybe on your initial call, just an emphasizing with the 48-hour grace period. You know, you won't get a call back, but I can guarantee you that an
Yeah, we're
officer will
dispatching
be
them.
dispatched
Yeah.
out to review.
Yep.
And
Absolutely,
maybe
and what I
something-
can do too.
You know what I mean, just to
Yeah.
kinda emphasize that we don't call you back, but
Yes.
it is not just answer the phone, hang up, and we don't do.
Yeah,
There is a
yeah,
Just
yeah,
some people
absolutely.
feel that nothing is being done.
Yeah, and it's
That's-
because they're not right next door to see us attend, right?
Well, and they're
In that
seeing it on,
case,
they're
sorry.
seeing it on the news, like, there's a
Yeah.
lot of your kind of facilities with, you know, the adoptions that are all struggling right now.
Yeah, everybody
And,
is,
and,
yeah.
you know, it's coming up every day that you're seeing it, so
Yeah, yeah, okay, I see that, yeah.
just something to
And
emphasize.
so what I'll do then is chat with my team and make sure everybody is telling everybody that on every call, how about?
I think it's just to make them aware, just cause you don't hear from us again, it's not just
Yeah.
being filed and
Yeah. Yeah.
people just wanna know the right.
Well, and the
Yeah.
issue that we run into is because we attend and then I always say, like, people think I have a magic wand that I can be like, your dog will always
You
stay
don't?
in its yard. I wish. But if I go and do something or tell the person to do something, we set something up, and then I leave, I don't hear back from anyone for a year, but it was still continuing, right? I
Yeah.
don't know, because no one's reporting it to me, right? But, yeah, so they do have to call. So that's why we implemented that procedure of the 48-hour grace period, but if you see it happening, please call us back
So you
again.
do tell them that?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
No, that's good to know.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just some people
Yes.
are gonna feel like, well, I already called, I don't wanna be in there,
Yes,
you know.
yes, and we've had people call and say, well, I didn't wanna call again, and I'm like, well, if you don't call us, we don't know, and then they get it. So it's just, I think sometimes a communication error or something, or lack of communication.
But you are
maybe.
saying that it's usually within a 48.
We
when-
always say
when
48
staff
hour
is up.
grace period.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I've had some concerns that, well, it's not a local company. Well, first of all, there's probably not a local company that does this in every municipality.
We can't.
Yeah, it's.
If I could
You guys are
afford
in
a
Oak Bank, right?
Our new facility's in Enola.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
just down the street.
Yeah, not too far.
Yeah.
But if I could afford a facility in every, like, I can't
Jurisdiction?
even afford the one I'm renovating right now, forget it. But everything's $10,000.
How many animals do you have right now?
Right now,
Yeah.
do not jinx me. I just took everything to rescues today.
Okay.
I literally cleaned everything out today.
Okay.
Yes.
So which rescue do they go to?
We actually deal with, can the public hear us?
Yes.
Okay, so I can't tell you all of our rescues because of their privacy.
Oh, okay.
threat,
So
but
there's a
we
number
have-
of them.
We have
There you go.
about 10 that we work with.
Okay.
Humane Society, yeah, that one everyone can know, but.
Yeah. Great.
Council Paxton had a question?
Yes, thank you very much. Sorry, I'm joining from online here.
Sorry, I
Megan.
didn't realize.
And I missed the first minute. But I wanted to ask you, there's been a couple of incidences in my ward where there are some larger dogs that are roaming outside of the owner's property, and they sort of semi-aggressive, nipping at people that are walking on the street or trying to take a walk. Are those types of incidences given a higher priority because there's a larger animal on the street? Perhaps, they're intimidating to residents? How is that dealt with?
Yeah, anytime there's a threat, it's a priority. The size of the dog doesn't matter. Damage is damage and injury is injury. But yeah, absolutely. We chatted earlier a little bit. Like if we get a noise complaint and then a bite call, the bite call takes priority.
But how do you determine the threat? Like, if a dog's just barking and they're not leaving their yard, they're just barking.
So it's what
Would
the
you-
complaint is.
Yeah.
Is how we determine. So if the complaint is barking, that's not.
No, but I'm just saying, as a dog person, there's dogs bark because you're coming near their property.
Right.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Um,
some people that don't have dogs might see that as aggressive,
Right.
but that doesn't necessarily mean it's aggressive.
So when we get a complaint, we know we only have half the story,
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
So we go out and talk to the owner, hey, we got this complaint, what's going on?
yeah.
That's almost, well, not quite that casual, but that's basically what we say to them. Let them tell us what happened as well, and then we figure out a solution. That's the.
We don't have a bylaw in our, do we have in our bylaw that they have to be tied up outside? I don't think so.
No, just contained to the property, on leash, off property.
Right, so,
Yeah.
cause you can have the invisible
Yep,
fence, which my neighbors have.
right.
Yeah.
You can even train your dog to just not go off.
Yeah.
As long as there's no bylaw infraction until it steps off the property.
Okay, yeah, that's what I heard too. Okay,
So going back to my question, then, if these larger dogs that are like in excess, like the residents told me they feel intimidated by them and they're off property, they're on the road, sort of on a semi-regular basis, and causing residents not to come out to do their walks or to socialize with neighbors, is that considered our priority?
Yeah, yeah, like every call is a priority, so, if this is like a specific incident, we can absolutely review it.
Yes, it is, okay.
Maybe we can talk about
I think
that. It's on the list?
I can review it offline with you.
Okay, absolutely.
Any other questions?
So, I'm just gonna clarify with the team, pardon me, just wanna make sure we're all on the same page before I leave. That we're telling people the 48 hours that we're attending, just make sure we're clear on that first call, and to call us back if it continues after that,
After 48 hours?
yeah?
And explaining to them that they won't get a call back when somebody goes out,
Yeah,
but they're just guaranteeing them that somebody will be.
yes, yeah, okay, yeah, we can clarify that, absolutely.
Just so they know they're not waiting for,
Oh,
it's like
Is that what-
if we call the RCMP,
yeah,
they tend to ask us a phone number and they call us back. So-
yeah,
But they've got all the resources, well, we think they
I
have
don't
all
know,
the
we don't
resources,
have
but
all the
yeah.
resources.
But just assure them that we
Yeah.
are going out, even though you don't hear from us, it is being dealt with.
yeah.
But thank you for what you do.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I know, that's a labor of love too.
It's been a rough year.
Yeah. So thanks for everything you're
Thank
doing
you.
for us.
Thank
I
you, guys.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
And the animals.
And yeah, if there's ever, and we'll address this issue, and if there's anything, just let me know and I can fill you in, because very likely, I don't know that it's happening either, because my officers are taking care of it, right?
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
don't see it until the end, so you guys just ask me and I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Thanks, Megan.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So that takes us now down to 10.1, accounts receivable. Does anyone have any questions on accounts receivable?
There was an email with a question about the HR catalyst. Have we got any answers on that? What's going on there?
Yeah, so that was basically a clerical error. There was an invoice that was received from Catalyst, pardon me, which is the agenda management program and the service tracker program.
Okay.
And so an invoice came in from Catalyst, and when the payment was structured from the drop-down menu, the wrong company was selected for Catalyst HR. So it was a drop-down
Oh,
menu.
so it was
a
to
clerical error.
tell us for our
uh,
meeting thing.
Right, exactly.
Oh.
So it was a clerical
Similar
error.
names.
It was a clerical error.
Oh, okay.
The check was
I was gonna say, when
issued.
did Catalyst HR do
So
our
the
meeting
check was
website?
issued with an invoice,
Yeah.
right? With the wrong name.
Yeah.
And the check was, we had contacted Catalyst HR, advised them they're gonna return the check, and we've got a stop payment on the check, and a new check was issued to Catalyst. So it's a clerical error.
So a great catch by our resident there on that one.
So the invoice was labeled wrong?
No, the invoice is correct.
No, so when you go to pay something,
And
and
the vendor's
Cat-
name was on a
Catalyst,
drop-down.
which is these guys, our old Allnet,
Yeah.
yeah, Catalyst and Catalyst, it would be right next door to each other, so she just.
The same thing.
Pressed the wrong one.
The same thing, it's like,
Yeah,
on the invoice review, same thing, it's like,
yeah, I can see how that could happen, it happened to me too, when I did a
so it's a
payment.
clerical.
Yeah, it's just, sometimes you press the wrong button.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
like to see that invoice tomorrow,
Sure.
if you don't mind, just so that I know what to look for, because.
Yeah.
So you see this here, Catalyst, here, Catalyst,
Yeah.
and Catalyst. when-
So is a
so when you
drop-down
drop it
menu,
down
drop-down
in the
menu
program,
selected?
It
and
would,
the wrong-
if you click too quick, you would pick up the wrong name.
No, I understand that, but the check went out to the same company, right?
Yeah, by
Right,
error,
so-
so they're gonna return it.
Yeah,
No,
and.
I understand that too.
Yeah.
And there's a stop payment on it.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, I understand that, I still wanna look at it, just to make
Oh,
sure.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
To see where I went wrong, cause I should've, maybe I should've caught it, I don't know. Okay,
Well, these things happen sometimes.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
okay, any other questions? None? No, okay, August visa statements? Any questions on August visa statements? None, okay. And take it down to 11, payroll statements. Be it resolved that the payroll of the month of September, be it resolved that the payroll for the month of September as follows be approved as presented. Its total payment is $218,376.87. Could I have a mover, please? Councilor Campbell moves, Councilor Shetty seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. Now we go down to, all the way down to 15.1. Additional yard waste collection, November 4th. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West St. Paul approve an additional yard waste collection to occur on November 4th for the entire municipality and a yard waste budget expenditure of over $15,000 for the 24 fiscal year. Be it further resolved that these funds be borrowed by the operating budget. Could I have a mover, please?
I'll move.
Councilor Bichetti moves. Can I have a seconder, please?
Oh, sorry.
Councilor Cliver seconds it. Any comments?
Yes, because this is happening next week, can we do like a couple of email blasts tomorrow and maybe set up something to go over the weekend so that if people are getting, this will be probably the last weekend. Oh, no, it's not next week.
No, it's the week after.
But just consistent, even on a daily basis, just blasting it out there, so.
Yeah, well,
Sorry, with maybe a map of
maybe,
what areas will be.
maybe
done.
not daily, but a few times.
Yeah, a few times,
A few
just
times,
to
yeah.
get it out there.
Yeah, once we had approval to proceed, we're gonna make arrangements with the contractor and we'll issue, communications for sure to the public.
Go ahead, Councilor Cliver.
What are you shifting to accommodate the overage?
Oh, we've got an excess, we're not shifting anything, we've got a surplus from the municipal operating grant. We can draw
Okay.
from,
So it's covered?
yes.
Good, thank you.
Okay.
Do you mean a resolution on this?
We-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I read the resolution already.
Did you?
Yeah,
I'm not too quick, sorry.
I was on comments. Any more
You
comments?
seconded the motion.
Been a long night, okay.
Any comments, questions? Can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. Takes us down to question period.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sir, I lost the internet connection, and I think that I missed this. I missed the vote on item 7.1, 7.2. Sorry, 7.1. Many of the whole meeting, so I apologize for that. But I did have an associated motion that I wanted to bring up with that. And I just noticed that number 16 is notice of motion, but would council entertain the motion at item number 16 or
Oh, okay,
Oh, notice the motion.
yeah, notice the motion, go ahead.
yeah, okay, so I was just basically with regards to the committee of the whole, I sent each of you a copy of your email earlier. You know, there's public hearings, so everyone was busy. Essentially, the resolution reads, be it resolved that at minimum for the committee of the whole, that the public works lead, infrastructure lead, finance lead, legislative lead, and economic development lead, along with another department lead, rotating from fire, bylaw, recreation, be present at committee of the whole meetings. So essentially what I'm saying is that the committee of the whole meeting, there should be regular department leads at these meetings so that council stay agile and up to speed with regards to delivering on our council priorities, with regards to the budget, getting progress updates as well as, being able to pivot for emerging issues and other issues that come up by the community month over month. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. We already have Ms. Shaw, Ms. Shahida, and Ms. Elias and CEO, but I'd like to see also on a regular basis, public works, infrastructure, and on a rotating basis, fire, bylaw, and recreation as well.
Go ahead, Councilor Bichetti.
So Councillor Pactican, for some clarity, so what would you want to see per committee of a whole, like a couple of departments at a time on a rotation basis, or?
Yeah, I would like to, so I mean, we already have legislative, we have economic development, and we have finance. They're already regularly attending our committee of the whole meetings. I would like to see public works attend regularly at these meetings, and then perhaps bylaw at another meeting, and then another meeting could be fire, and then a following meeting could be recreation. So the rotating ones would be fire, bylaw, and recreation, and then the ones that would be there every month would be public works, infrastructure, legislative, and development, and finance. I think it's super important because I think we've seen in our last committee of the whole, a few of our council priorities were, I know it's a lagging report, but they were at the 5% level. And in an October meeting, for something to be at 5% was, I wanted to be more on top of it and understand what were the issues with regards to it being at 5%. Maybe it's at 15%, I don't know, but at the end of the day, because it's a lagging report, we're not able to stay on top of it and perhaps speak to the issues at hand or address them as they come up. So I think that if we have these leads at the committee of the whole, we'll be in a better position rather than we are now. And it just provides council with additional information, additional visibility, and additional opportunity to ask questions.
So I think what, if I may, Mayor?
Go ahead.
I think what Councillor Pactican's talking about is, for example, we're talking in October about speed radar signs. We want some accountability about why our capital projects are not getting done. So if they're being delegated to a department and that department is not doing anything, then we want to be able to say to them, why haven't you done anything? Like, what's happening with this? Give us an answer. So that they're accountable for the things that they're supposed to be doing.
So the speed radar signs are on track to be installed. So, and if council would like, we could have a discussion about the capital program, the status of the capital program, if that's a concern.
Well, I think that we all felt that there were some items on there that should have been done a long time ago. So our concern is this: we passed something in March, and we're sitting here in October looking at a sheet that tells us we're 5% done. And we're kind of wondering, well, where are we at here? Like, why are we still here?
So, I think the capital sheet itself has to be taken within the context of what's being reported. What was being reported is billings, and it was reverse looking backwards, right? So we can go ahead and talk about those projects, and we can talk about individual projects if council would like. Some of those projects are 5% or 1% or 2% done. Some of those projects are projected to be completed in 2025. Things like the reservoir, things like the signage, and
The reservoir I get.
and things like the signage and so forth. So there's a number of projects there, and that's why I say we can get into the individual projects and talk about the context and talk about the delivery. And so there are going to be carryovers, but they were projected to be carryovers.
Right. So, but there's some that shouldn't be carryovers. Like, for example, the speed radar signs.
Which will be installed.
Right. But when we go to FCM in June, and the guy at the booth says, I can have these to you in 2 weeks, and we're in October, and they're still not here, then we kind of go, why is there a disconnect? So what Councillor Pactican's trying to say is, well, let's bring people in that are responsible for these things to say to them, why are we still waiting for this? So maybe that's not the way to go about it. Maybe it should go through you. But is it the reporting system itself that's flawed then? Because from what you're saying is, no, these things are projected to carry over, but some things are not projected to carry over, but we're not getting a good timeline on why it took that long to go there.
Yeah, and some of the discussion we had at the meeting is to provide some context around those projects and to provide some verbiage on those projects. So we've adapted that table now where we've got a column and an explanation. And I can share that if that would be helpful as well, or we could have a separate discussion on that if that would be helpful.
I think too, like when Public Works came in here before and they told us, oh, well, next week we're starting the culverts. Well, I got an email literally the day after saying, hey, remember me? My culvert was supposed to be done. I said, literally was at a meeting last night and they're starting next week. And then I followed up with him and they said, yep, my culvert got done. So that was so great for me because I now had the information firsthand from Public Works that I could go to my resident and say, yep, they're starting next week. Because otherwise, I'm always talking to you. And then I think too, one of the things for Councillor Pactican and for Mayor Trujan is they want to be on top of that snow. So if you have Public Works in on a cow, right, then they can talk directly to Public Works about any concerns that they have. I don't know if if that's something you want to think about or.
At the end of the day, the intent of the motion was simply to provide council some opportunities to have some visibility, sort of real time in terms of what's happening. It's not meant to be critical. I don't think it's just meant to get a status update and to be able to pivot with anything that's emerging. Whether yes, it was like the spring culverts, whether it's snow clearing, whether it's ditch clearing, whether it's things like the fall pickup for leaves. It's just an avenue where we can get some face time with department leads on a more regular basis. And I think that's the appropriate avenue. There's already standing items on the cowl for these departments, committees, and I'm just saying, you know, wouldn't it be great if we could have the department meetings attend, and council have an avenue to ask some questions. That's simply all it was. That's simply all it is.
Councilor Bichetti?
Maybe we could set this up to a point where, you know, from one Cal meeting to the next is at the end of the one Cal meeting, we would you know, speak with our CEO, say we'd like to have these departments to I guess give them some, maybe if there is a high priority item, so that if we have a department head coming back to us, they're coming back with the information. It's not having them here, but they're not prepared with the answer for, you know, a question that we might be going off the cuff on you know, something that we're hearing from residents, but something they're gonna have an answer for us. It's not gonna be, let me get back to you, right? So maybe from one meeting to the next, at the end of every meeting, we decide, okay, this is what we're gonna wanna see at the next meeting. You know, be it infrastructure, be it public works, be it bylaw. Let's face it, from season to season, we're gonna have different departments that we're getting the calls from, right? Between snow and then grass but it's just so that they're ready with answers for us, and it's not, well, I have to get back to you. Like, I don't think we wanna hear that. I think we want answers, correct?
I
So-
think you're right.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, Councilor Bichetti. I think that's kind of where we're at now with the way the Cal operates. It's more like, and I think every councilor, every elected official would probably respect the fact that, you know, not every it's going to have the answer for at their fingertips, but I think that they have enough knowledge to be able to provide a bit of an explanation, perhaps, that would provide some comfort and some reassurances to us and to the residents. I just think we just need to be a bit more agile, and this structure would help that. It's all I'm trying to do is look for a structure that helps council get information more readily available, sort of live or you know what I mean, real time, so that we can sort of pivot quickly if we need to. That's really what it is.
Well, I understand what I agree with you, Councillor Pactican, but I think if there's more specific items, it would be good to, even if we had our public works at this meeting, saying, okay, I want you back at the next one, but, you know, give us more of a breakdown of what happened to X scenario, right? Just, we have to be prepared that they can't have the answers for everything on the cuff, right? So.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'd like to see public works, because public works really is, that's the bread and butter of the RM. Like, where everything, there's 4 seasons and there's seasons in between, and it seems like everything's a public works issue almost. Whether it's like paths or road repairs, roads, when they're going to start, ditches, and culverts, and snow clearing and grass cutting, parks and play. Everything seems to be public works, so I think it makes sense that public works be at the committee. And if there's no questions from council, then, you know, the department leads can just exit, right? They can just leave the meeting. But if we do have some questions, then at least they're there for us to ask some questions.
But you see, that's the difference. We each think different departments are where I have the most problems in my area is bylaw. You're saying, you know, public works. So it's, how are we deciding which ones are the priorities? I think that's something we need to discuss during the Cal meeting to see how we want to structure this. I get more complaints in bylaw than I would get in public works or infrastructure. Like, I'm constantly getting, you know, semis, from semis to, you know, cars parking on both sides of the road to, so we're all having differences in where our priorities are, but it's nice to have them come in because we all have priorities, so.
Yeah, no, good point. So then the question, I guess, is there any harm by having all department leads attend all town meetings, I guess?
Then we look at budgets, and then we're questioning, why are we over budget on this? Well, we have, you know, 3 or 4 department heads at a meeting when there's no questions for them. So I think we need to, I agree having them there, but having them there for a reason, not just to come into a meeting. I'd like to be prepared so we know which department heads we would have in. Because at the end, we're looking at budget at the end, and It doesn't seem like much, but having 4 department heads sitting in a meeting where we talk to 2 of them, sometimes it could be sitting there for 2 or 3 hours, so.
Do you want to take this conversation up further in a COW meeting? or-
Sure, that's fine.
Okay, so we'll move this to a COW meeting? The next one? Mike?
Yeah, thank you, that'd be great.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay, so now we're at number 18, question periods. Anyone have any questions? No? You, by all means?
Norma Alberg, 312 Evelyn. I'm just wondering if the RM is planning to put out any notice to the broader community through the email blast regarding the upcoming sewer LIDs and the specifics of the dates of the meeting and times. And on November 7th and 8th, they were in the CAO's recent report.
What was that?
Are you able to answer that now? Do you want to?
Yes, there was a mailer that was issued to the local improvement areas. And as well, we will be following up with additional notifications electronically, but the mailers have gone out.
Okay. So you.
And will there be any notice of the meeting time to the broader community?
Yes, electronically, yes.
Through email blasts?
Yes.
Yes, wherever's an email. So that's throughout the whole community. That's what
Yes.
you're asking for?
Yes.
The whole community?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, email blast, yes.
If they're on email blast.
Yeah.
Well, that's,
Well,
yeah.
that's a given.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I guess how soon before the meeting were you planning on doing that? When would the first email blast be going out? I'll ask that question.
Well, we were planning on issuing it early next week, but if there's concern, we could issue it as early as tomorrow.
No, I was just wanting, seeing what
Yeah.
it was, but that's enough. Is that enough time, you guys? Next week?
Yeah.
That's beginning of, that's more than a week, I believe, right? Yes. Yep.
There has been, the areas affected by the LIDs have received mailers, so they've been mailed out and delivered.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Pardon me? Oh, and there's also been, thank you, Lenny, there's also been 2 advertisements in the Selkirk Record as well, notifying of it as well, so.
And notices were sent out from the
And,
municipal.
and the website, right.
And notices were sent out from the municipal board.
Yeah.
To the affected, the ones that signed up against.
That's right. Municipal board mailed to the negatives, or the opposite, those opposed.
Yeah.
The RM mailed to everybody in the subcatchments. There's advertisements, 2 advertisements in the Selkirk Record. It's on the website, and we will follow up with an email blast.
That's 5 notices.
Well,
Where is it on the website?
Under notices.
Okay.
And that's, just to clarify, that's over and above, because it's supposed to be the municipal board doing this. The RM is going over and above notifying everyone in the affected areas and the rest of the RM.
Yep.
Because it is a municipal board hearing, and it's not an RM one, we went over and above, as I was speaking about with the CO, so.
No, that's good. Thank you. Any other questions? None? Okay, so now we'll go to in-camera, 19.1. Be it resolved that in accordance with section 152-3, the Municipal Council does now move in camera to discuss personnel. Be it further resolved that in accordance with section 83(1)D of the Municipal Act, any issues that are discussed but kept confidential are discussed at a regular meeting of council. Can I have a mover, please? Councilor Shetty moves. Can I have a seconder, please? Councilor Fiver seconds it. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Okay. So, we want to extend the meeting for another half hour. Be it resolved that we extend the meeting from 11 o'clock to 10:30. Could I have a mover, please?
From 10 o'clock to 10:30.
10 o'clock to 10:30. Thank you very much. Councilor Bichetti moves.
I'll second.
Councilor Clyber seconds. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
So we're gonna go back in camera.
Okay.
Resolution?
Yeah, I'm looking for the resolution.
Here, read that.
Okay. Be it resolved that in accordance with section 152(3) of the Municipal Act, council does now move in camera to discuss personnel. And be it further resolved that in accordance with section 83(1)(d) of the Municipal Act, any issues that are discussed are kept confidential until discussed at a regular meeting of council. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
So moved.
Councilor Kleiber moves.
Second.
Councilor seconds it. Can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. So we're now on 19.3.1, Municipal Emergency Coordinator Agreement. Be it resolved that the Council of the Rural Municipality of West St. Paul appoint Ken Azaranzik as the Municipal Emergency Coordinator for a 3-year term effective January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2027. Be it further resolved that the Mayor and Chief Administrative Officer be authorized to execute the Municipal Emergency Coordinator's contract with Ken Anaraski. Can I have a mover, please?
I'll move.
So
Councilor
moved.
Bichetti moves, Councilor Pactacan seconds it. Any comments, questions? Can I call for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. We also, during our out of camera, we had some
Update.
updates on RRPD. Be it resolved, so now we'll go to adjourn the meeting. It is 10:28. Be it resolved that this meeting of council stand adjourned at 10:28 PM. Can I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councilor Kleiber moves. Can I have a seconder, please? Councilor Bichetti seconds it. Any comments, questions? Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Hearing none, carried.